Hello, 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 hello. Hi everybody, I'm back. I took a little time off.
Not taking the homies to Isengard. 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 God. Not taking the homies to Isengard. God. Not taking the homies to Isengard. Not taking the homies to Isengard. Not taking the homies to Isengard.
What did you say?
The hobbits to Isengard. To Isengard. The hobbits to Isengard. The hobbits.
Let me say hello to everybody. First of all, let me apologize for taking some time off. I know I kind of just like dipped. I did mention the last time I streamed that I was feeling kind of like about streaming and that I was gonna take some time off, but I didn't like formally announce it. So like if you weren't in here the night that it happened, you probably were like, what the hell happened to Pink? I just like kind of started feeling a little defeated with streaming, and like, you know, like I knew that my numbers were going to, I'll greet everybody and I'll say hello to everybody, blah, 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 blah. But like I knew my numbers were going to go back down after my 4-year anniversary stream, because like that's just the way it is. People hang out for like celebrations and stuff. But like there was like 3 or 4 streams that I like didn't even want to write out because like the energy was just like felt off, whatever. So I was feeling a little defeated. So I just kind of had to like reassess what I wanted from streaming and like what I'm doing and what I want streaming to fulfill for me. So I took a little time off, but I'm back. Hello. Hi, I'm back. Thank you so much for the frickin' hype train, like randomly. Hello. Horseman, Wolfie, Marbs, Yaga, Bubbles, Gigi, hello. Hello, Nikki, hello. Hello. Mock, hello. Mock. I saw your tweet and I see you, I appreciate you, and I will miss hanging out with you. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. But on a completely side note, I played with some mic settings. So like, please let me know how it sounds, if it's bad, if it's worse, if it's good, if it's better. Please let me know how the mic sounds, because I played with some settings and I would like to know, honestly, how it sounds. But I think you could be louder. Okay. Whoop, that's the wrong one. Where's my microphone? Here it is. Okay. Okay, is this any better? Unless... I'm so excited to see you play Mass Effect. I adore this series. Well, the first 3. I've been playing with it. I know you did say. Now I have to trust my... Now we have to trust Yaga's judgment, and we all know that's a bad idea. Okay, so, yeah, I've never played this before. This is my first time playing. Our wonderful friend Yaga gifted us the Legendary Edition, which I guess is the trilogy. Yeah, we'll see. Start new career. Oh, I would love to start a new career. We're gonna smooch aliens.
To Alliance military database.
We'll see.
Classified information.
You guys know what
requested.
happened last time. You thought that like I was gonna do something in a game. I didn't touch
connection.
Gwen once.
Secure connection confirmed.
She picked you as a friend. How bad can your judgment be? Very bad.
Please
Jane.
log in to access your
Jane
profile.
Shepherd. Poop Shepherd.
Profile reconstruction complete.
Lurking, gonna go hide from... Oh, okay. Yes, the new Sailor Moon. Yes, Nikki. It's exciting. Wait, is there anything else I can change? I can just change the name, right? That's it. That's fine.
Identification.
Oh,
confirmed.
identification. Auto level up. Weapons are automatically or manually assigned each time a character advances. No. I don't know what this means. Turn subtitles on. Sure. Excuse me.
Well, what about Shepard? Earthborn, but no record of her family.
Doesn't have one. She was raised on the streets, learned to look out for herself.
Oh, it's fine.
She saw her whole unit
I only
die
saw
on
a
the
place to
cruise.
put my name, but
She could have
that's
some
okay.
serious emotional scars.
I'm from
Every
Earth.
soldier has scars. Shepard's a survivor.
Is that the kind of person we want protecting the galaxy?
That's the only kind of person who can protect the galaxy.
I'll make the call.
My name is Poop. In the year 2048, explorers on Mars discovered the remains of an ancient spacefaring civilization. In the decades that follows, these mysterious artifacts revealed startling new technologies, enabling travel to the furthest stars. The basis for this incredible technology was a force that controlled the very fabric of space and time. They called it the greatest discovery in human history. Civilizations of the galaxy call it Mass Effect. That stuff is your back. Oh, so should I actually start it over then? Hold on. I like it only let me like. Maybe I had to use the arrow buttons.
The
to
Arcturus
click on
Prime
stuff.
relay is in range.
I can't even click on
Initiating
anything.
transmission sequence.
Commander?
Like I can't even skip this even if I wanted to. If that stuff matters to you. I mean,
We are
like,
connected. Calculating
it,
transit
like
mass
there's
and
nothing to
destination.
click on. So, like I'm saying, maybe it was the
The relay is hot.
directionals.
Acquiring approach vector.
Hi Tori, how are you?
All stations secure for transit.
Is that Seth Green? Holy shit, longest intro ever to a game ever.
Board is green. Approach run has begun.
And we have to watch it again. Did you see the new follower for Cult of the Lamb? I actually played co-op Cult of the Lamb last night.
3, 2.
I do, but I'm just gonna like I'm gonna just F4 this shit because like this is actually
Thrusters,
ridiculous that this
check.
game is just you're like, no, you absolutely cannot skip this cutscene. You don't think I pressed escape 700 times? I pressed every button on this keyboard. I just force quit the game. Seth Green, that's what I thought. Alright, hurry up. Jesus fuck. Longest menu and intro
Welcome
ever.
to
I
Alliance
already hate
military
it.
Database. Classified information requested. Establishing secure connection. Secure connection.
I would like
confirmed.
I've already seen this button. Okay. Jane.
Please log
now.
in to access
I want to
your
I still want to be
profile.
poop.
Profile
No.
reconstruction complete.
Why?
Please log
Stop.
in to access your profile.
Poop Shepherd.
Profile reconstruction.
Yeah, see, like I can't
complete.
click on any of these.
Please log in to access your profile. Profile
I
reconstruction.
can't click on
complete.
any of these. I can't click on anything. Did I really just reload that and you can't even do anything in the first game? No. I can't click on anything.
Please log in to access your
Do I
profile.
do this one? Oh, do I have to do it this way?
Please log
It's
in
fucking
to
stupid.
access your profile. Warning, data corruption detected. Please reconstruct profile.
Couldn't see because of your
Confirm
camera.
pre-service history.
All right. Following your parents' footsteps, you enlisted at the age of 18. You're born and raised on Mindwar. Ew, parent. You learn to love it. Just have a little patience. I'm just saying. Oh, I'm just being a brat. I'm just being a brat. I'm just being a brat. Just to upset us? No, 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 no. I'm really not. I'm
Confirm
just being
psychological
silly.
profile.
Da, da, da. No, these all sound ridiculous. I don't want PTSD. All right, I'll be a war hero,
Confirm
I guess.
military specialization.
Holy, okay. Soldier, engineer, adept. What? I could be like a siren. Sentinel. Oh, okay. I think I want to be this one. Why is my chat like stuck? There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. It's not stuck anymore. Does anyone want PTSD? You're free to not love this game, but I will cry inside a tiny bit. What if I actually really don't like it? Like I'm gonna like I was being silly, like I'm gonna give it a shot, but like okay. I think I want this one.
Confirm facial identification.
No, hideous. Oh my god, why did I just get even uglier? Why? Why? I'm so pale. Oh wait, I keep. Oh my god, it's not even different colors. It's literally like red and green. Was there like a green one at one point? You'll be surprised if I don't like it. Well, I mean, I hope I do. Because I want a new game to enjoy. No scars. I'm pretty. I'm so pretty. Makeup. Eyeshadow color. Wow. That one's kinda... That's not bad. Hair. Hair. Wow. Oh, I forgot. This is a mid 2000s. There's not gonna be like a nice, pretty long hair. Can you turn around so I can see? I want to see. Turn around. Turn your head. Have I played BioShock? Yeah, BioShock is in my raid video. Yeah. Turn around. I know, I can't see. I thought so. Yes. Yes, it was in my raid video. Move your head. Can I be like, white? It's not bad. It's not bad. Just got that song out of you. I should live rent-free at all times. Really. Turn around. Bright eyes. You're finally seeing Deadpool and Wolverine. I hope you love it. I loved it. Ear size, huge. Well, you can't see them, but just know, guys, that my ears are fucking huge underneath there. Okay, neck thickness. No, a little thin, with little skinnies. The biggest ears hidden. So the trailer, and it was every bit as wild as BioShock. I liked BioShock, but I think I played BioShock 2 too quick to
Profile
BioShock 1,
reconstruction
and
complete.
I got really frustrated. Poop Shepherd, Spacer War Hero Sentinel. I was gonna watch it on Discord, but Discord Android. Ew, yeah. Okay. Poop Shepherd, let's go.
Identification confirmed.
Okay. I hate little sisters. No, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's go.
Well, what about Shepard? She's a spacer, lived aboard starships most of her life.
Military
different.
service runs in the family.
It's already
Both
different.
her parents were in the Navy.
It's funny.
She proved herself during the Blitz, held off enemy forces on the ground until reinforcements
Oh,
arrived.
that felt great. I don't know if you guys heard my
She's the
next track.
only reason Elysium is
Like in a
still
hotel in North
standing.
Carolina. Oh, yeah, that's right.
We can't question her courage.
Look at my
Humanity needs
magenta
a
hair.
hero. And Shepard's the best we've got.
I'll make the call.
Poop Shepherd. Commander Poop Shepherd. Alright, I'm not reading this again. Just pretend I'm reading it, like, for the first time. Wow. The civilization of the galaxy call it. Mass Effect. Wow, space. Wow, space.
The Arcturus Prime relay is in range. Initiating transmission sequence. Commander?
Is that Seth Grade?
We are connected.
Look at my guns.
Calculating transit mass and destination.
And the guns on my back as well.
The relay is hot. Acquiring approach vector. All stations secure for transit.
Is she this much of a brat in real life? Wow.
Board is green.
I would be offended,
Approach line has
but like,
begun.
wow. Get the, I've said that from the get-go that
Getting a relay in.
I couldn't keep up with like a character. I couldn't keep up with like an illusion. It'd be exhausting.
Thrusters, check. Navigation, check. Internal emissions sync engaged.
Especially at a concert.
All systems online. Drift, just under 1500K.
1500 is good. Your captain will be pleased.
I hate that guy.
Nihilus gave you a compliment. So you hate him.
Yes.
You remember to zip up your jumpsuit on the way out of the bathroom? That's good. I just jumped us halfway across the galaxy and hit a target the size of a pinhead. So that's incredible. Besides, Spectres are trouble. I don't like having them on board. Call me paranoid.
You're paranoid.
I like when
The
they're
council helped fund this project. They have a right to send someone to keep
Typing.
an eye on their investment.
Yeah, that is the official story. But only an idiot believes the official
Oh.
story.
Cut the chatter.
They don't send Spectres on shakedown runs.
So there's more
Hi,
going
my name's
on here than
Poop.
the captain's letting on.
Joker, status report.
Just cleared the mass relay, Captain. Stealth systems
How do you
engaged.
type on that? Holy
Everything
shit.
looks solid.
Good. Find a comm buoy and link us into the network. I want mission
Aw.
reports relayed back to Alliance Brass
R.I.P..
before reaching the Prime.
Aye, aye, Captain. Better brace yourself, sir. I think Nihilus is headed your way.
He's already here, Lieutenant. Tell Commander Shepard to meet me in the comm room for a debriefing.
You get that, Commander?
Captain Poop reporting for duty. Is he upset? You made him mad. Yeah, I heard.
I'm on my way.
I have ears.
It
You
appears
can't
the
see
captain
them, but
always
they're
sounds a little
big.
pissed off.
Only when he's talking to you, Joker.
Woo! Okay, hold on, sensitivity. Where's the center? Where's the center? I mean, that's weird. I don't like that. Calibration? No. Controls. Sensitivity. Okay.
We're getting dragged
crap.
right along.
Is that this? Is this look sensitivity? Right, low, I guess.
On with it.
Relax, Presley. You're gonna give
It's
yourself
weird.
an ulcer.
How do I make this go away? Hold left shift. Left click on a weapon's icon. Okay, I see. How do I...
I grew up on Eden Prime, Doc. It's not the kind of place Spectres visit.
That's gonna be...
There's something Nihilus isn't telling us about this mission.
annoying to get used to, because that's like the normal button to run.
Take orders from a Spectre.
Hello? 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 I don't know how to not shoot.
Commander Shepard, I was hoping you'd get here first. It will give us a chance to talk.
Talk?
What about?
What about?
I'm interested in this world we're going to. Eden Prime. I've heard it's quite beautiful.
What if I'm just like a bitch? What?
I've never been there.
But you know of it. It's become something of a symbol for your people, hasn't it? Proof that humanity can not only establish
I don't know how to not
colonies
shoot.
across
I
the
don't
galaxy,
know
but
how to
also
put my gun
protect
away.
them.
She's just running
How safe
around.
is it really?
Yeah.
If you've got something to say, just say it.
Your people are still newcomers, Shepard.
Dave!
The galaxy can be a very dangerous place. Is the Alliance truly ready
J.
for this?
Dave.
I think it's about time we told
In
the commander what's
Spachi!
really
In
This mission is
Spachi!
far more than a simple shakedown run.
Dave, thank you so much for 10 months in Spachi. Oh, hold on. Hold on. My Sanic drinks are here. I need my Sanic. My Sanic. Obi, thank you so much for the lurk. I appreciate it. Oh, our Paragon? Wait, they're all blue. Or is that different? Okay, hold on. What's going
Is someone
on?
gonna fill me in, Captain?
Yeah, I need to go get my Sanic
We're
drink.
making
Hold
a
on.
covert
My Sanic.
pickup on Eden Prime.
They're white. I mean, they're
That's
like
why we
light
needed the stealth
blue-ish.
systems operational.
Hold on. Got my drinkies. Those are white. Actually, they're no, they're not. Like, look at you. Okay. There is a very slight difference. Maybe they're gray, but there is a slight difference between the text and the option. Just saying. Just saying. Maybe they're gray. Maybe they're gray. Espache sounds like a pretentious restaurant name from American Psycho. But it wasn't Espache, it was just Spache. Okay. We got our Sanic, we're good now.
What's the payload, Captain?
A research team on Eden Prime unearthed some kind of
But you're
beacon
right, Dave.
during
I'm
an
sorry.
excavation.
I didn't want to be like, no.
Prothean.
But yeah. Spache. Prothean. I'm
The Protheans
Prothean.
vanished 50,000 years ago.
Their legacy still remains.
Hi,
The mass
Zaro.
relays,
Hi.
the Citadel,
Thank
our
you.
ship
Enjoy
drives.
your
It's
time
all
with your
based on
parents.
Prothean technology.
This is Big Shepard. The last time humanity made a discovery like this, it jumped our technology forward 200 years. But Eden Prime doesn't have the facilities to handle something like this. We need to bring the beacon back to the Citadel for proper study.
Obviously, this goes beyond mere human interests, Commander. This discovery could affect every species in Council space.
Why'd we tell
Why
the
didn't we
council?
keep the beacon for ourselves?
You humans don't have the best reputation. Some
I
species
never got
see
into
you as
it.
selfish,
Me neither. This is my
too
first time.
unpredictable, too independent, even dangerous.
Enjoy.
Sharing
Zaro.
that beacon will improve relations with the Council. Plus, we need their scientific expertise.
Keith David's voice is in
They
this.
know more about the Protheans than
Yeah,
we
there's a
do.
lot of voices in
The
this that I
beacon's
like,
not the
that
only
I
reason
recognize.
I'm here, Shepard.
Nihilus wants to see you in action, Commander. He's here to evaluate you.
Why?
What's going on, Captain?
The Alliance has been pushing for this for a long time. Humanity wants a larger role in shaping interstellar policy. We want more say with the Citadel Council. The Spectres represent the Council's power and authority. If they accept a human into their ranks, it shows how far the Alliance has come.
You held off an enemy assault during the Blitz single-handed. You showed not only courage, but also incredible skill. That's why I put your name forward as a candidate for the Spectres.
Why would a Turian want a human in the Spectres?
Not all Turians resent humanity. Some of us see the potential of your species. We see what you have to offer to the rest of the galaxy, and to the Spectres.
Base Captain.
We are an elite group. It's rare to find an individual with the skills we seek.
I feel like
I don't care that you're human, Shepard.
I feel like those
I only
spacesuits
care
would just
that you
not be
can do the
comfortable.
job.
I assume this is good for the Alliance.
Earth needs this, Shepard. We're counting on you.
I need to see your skills for myself, Commander. Eden Prime will be the first of several missions together.
You'll be in charge of the ground team. Secure the beacon and get it onto the ship ASAP. Nihilus will accompany you to observe the mission.
No spoilers? Okay.
Just give the word, Captain.
We should be getting close to Eden.
Captain, we got a problem.
What's wrong, Joker?
Transmission from Eden Prime, sir. You better see this.
What do you think the inspo was?
Bring it up on screen.
Poop. Get down!
We are under attack, taking heavy casualties. I repeat, heavy casualties. We can't. Need evac. They came out of nowhere. We need.
You can't, like, make out what anything is, which I don't think you're supposed to be able to.
Everything cuts out after that. No comm traffic at all. Just goes dead. There's nothing.
Reverse and hold at 38.5. Status report.
17 minutes out, Captain. No other Alliance ships in the area.
Tripod, squid, Seth Green.
Take us in, Joker, fast and quiet. This mission just got a lot more complicated.
A small strike team can move quickly, without drawing attention. It's our best chance to secure the beacon.
Grab your gear and meet us in the cargo hold. Tell Alenko and Jenkins to suit up, Commander. You're going in.
Engaging stealth systems.
Stealth.
Somebody was doing some serious digging here, Captain.
Your team's the muscle in this operation, Commander. Go in heavy and head straight for the dig site.
What about survivors, Captain?
Helping survivors is a secondary objective. The beacon's your top priority.
Approaching drop point 1.
Nihilus, you coming with us?
I move faster on my own.
Nihilus will scout out ahead. He'll feed you status reports throughout the mission. Otherwise, I want radio silence.
Ready and able, sir.
The mission's yours now, Shepard. Good luck!
We are approaching drop point 2.
Ship perimeter secure, Commander. That's it. Bag him in.
My sensitivity is still so high.
Perimeter secured.
The game, I'm talking about the game. Oh, I could be your love, DJ. Hi, DJ. How are you?
Oh God, what happened here?
I did. I finished Resident Evil. I did. Yeah. I wish I could run.
I think we got him, Commander.
Oh no, buddy. Investigate. How? How? How do I interact? Base. Okay. Oh, I'm
Rip
shaking.
right through his shields. Never had a chance.
Shaking. I'm shaking. Holy shit.
Sometimes Marines die. The rest of us just have to carry on. We still have to find that beacon.
Aye, aye, ma'am.
I wish I could run. I'm like barely moving my mouse.
A lot of bodies. I'm gonna check it out. I'll try to catch up with you at the dig site.
Okay. Yeah, sure, go ahead. I don't care. Am I supposed to care if you die? Oh my god. Look at like the sensitivity. I have to be able to fix this. Hold on. Alright, let's turn it down more. That's all I can do. It's teeny bit. A lot. Holy smokes. If they die, they'll be fine. But did you die? Miyaga's favorite movie, The Hangover. It's a little excessive. Halo? What is this? Is that the lady you don't like? Where? Where are they? Oh, Lazelle. Are you dead? Are you dead?
Gunnery Chief Ashley Williams of the 212. You the one in charge here, ma'am?
What happened here?
Give me a status report, Williams.
Oh, man. We were patrolling the perimeter when the attack hit. We tried to get off a distress call, but they cut off our communications. I've been fighting for my life ever since.
Where's the rest of your squad?
We tried to double back to the beacon,
Racist?
but we walked
Yeah,
into
that's what
an
I've heard.
ambush. I don't think any of the others... I think I'm the only one left.
Any idea what kind of enemy we're facing?
I think they're Geth.
The Geth haven't been seen outside the Veil in nearly 200 years. Why are they here now?
They must have come for the beacon. The dig site is close, just over that rise. It might still be there.
We could use your help, Williams.
Aye, aye, ma'am. It's time for payback.
Describe what happened leading up to the attack.
We were sent out a couple of nights ago from the main colony to secure the area. Seemed like a routine patrol, until the Geth hit us.
Oh, the Geth.
We never knew they were coming.
Liking her's a crime. Oh, she's gonna be my bestie. She's gonna be my bestie. I can't wait.
Move out!
Okay.
The beacon's at the far end of this.
I'm not spacist. I hate everyone equally. Exactly. I'm an equal opportunity spacist. Excuse me. Searchies, loodies. She can be more than your bestie. Wait, so I can romance the spacist? Oh man. It's over. Why is it when someone says with all due respect they really mean kiss my ass? Because you can't say kiss my ass to your superiors. You can't, you're a woman. Oh, there's straight choices and is there gay choices too? So it's not like Baldur's Gate where you can just be with anybody. Yeah. She only likes men. Okay. Piss up a rope. Not saying there won't be repercussions, but you can tell them to get effed. Caden and Liara. I don't know who that is. Hello. Moving up to the rock with your weapon drawn. Press left mouse button to fire. Hold right to lean out and aim. Okay, that's... What am I aiming at? Okay. Are we good? Are we good? Can I... Press left control? I'm presenting, but non-binary. Who are you shooting at? That's a wall. F to melee. That's silly. Hello.
This is the dig site. The beacon was right here. It must have been moved.
By who? Our side or the Geth?
Hard to say. Maybe we'll know more after we check out the research camp.
Any survivors?
You think anyone got out of here alive?
If they were lucky. Maybe hiding up in the camp. It's just on the top of this ridge, up the ramps.
F2 melee. F2 flack. To set hit. Who you went for Jack? Jakku?
I'll wait for you there.
Jakku? Hello.
Killing victims
I don't
instead
care.
of just shooting them. There must be some reason behind it.
Classic psychological warfare.
Where do I go? 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 Is this as fast as I can run?
Looks like they hit the camp hard.
It's a good place for an ambush. Keep your guard up.
I can run faster
Oh god.
with the run
they're still
fast
alive.
button.
What did the Geth do to them?
Oh, you wouldn't call us alive. But I think you have stamina. Disgusting. Disgusting. Oh yeah, I can change weapons, but I don't know what any of them do. Sniper, that's a shotgun. This is a pistol. Oh, but it was okay. Hi, Kojak. This is the first time. So yeah, no, it says I have stamp. How do I run faster? What's the run? It's not this. Ah. Okay, I hate that. Oh, I hate that. I hate that it's spacebar. Miranda's pretty snooty. Who's the prettiest?
Saren. Nihilus. This isn't your mission, Saren. What are you doing here?
The Council thought you could use some help on this one.
I wasn't expecting to find the Geth here. The situation's bad.
I make it seem like it. Yeah, it's annoying. I don't like it actually. Yeah, I'm not a fan of how it just, and it's like weird to control too. Oh, hold on, my nose it's itching so bad. Hold on. Can you plug a controller in? I'm a controller baby. I can, but then I won't be able to shoot. I won't be able to shoot to save my life. What's that do? Or easy decryption.
Security locks engaged.
Decryption or electronic access. If any squad member has the required talent to be able to unlock. Okay. Against the central core. Move the the mouse to move around the ring. Huh? Oh. Oh, okay, I see. Oh shit, it's hard to... I don't... Why does it move me on both sides? You have to reinstall. Do it.
What is that? Off in the distance.
Loot. It's loot, K-Dan. Wait. Oh my god. Wait, why is it's so slow. Look Look at that. Look at the crow. You guys got that over there? Good job. Best weapon in the game. Wom. 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 Alright, let me try this shit again. Alright. This is kind of difficult, if I'm being honest. It's like, it's hard to control which direction you have to go in. And that, okay, it didn't move that time, even though I clicked it. Yeah, that's hard. That's hard to control which direction the arrow goes in. Containment cell. Probably shouldn't shoot those.
Commander, it's Nihilus.
Oh no.
Something's moving over behind those crates.
Loot.
Wait! Don't shoot! I'm one of you! I'm human!
What are you doing sneaking around back there?
I'm sorry, I was hiding from those creatures. My name's Powell. I saw what happened to that Turian. The other one shot him.
You got two people have said that already, and I've done nothing. I've done nothing in the game so far.
I need to know how Nihilus died.
The other one got here first. He was waiting when your friend showed up. He called him Saren. I think they knew each other. Your friend seemed to relax. He let his guard down. And Saren killed him. Shot him right in the back. I'm just lucky he didn't see me behind the crates.
We were told a Prothean beacon was brought to the spaceport. What happened to it?
It's over on the other platform. Probably where that guy Saren was headed. He hopped on the cargo train right after he killed your friend. I knew that beacon was trouble. Everything's gone to hell since we found it. First that damn mothership showed up, then the attack. They killed everyone. Everyone. If I hadn't been behind the crates, I'd be dead too.
How come you're the only one who survived? Why didn't anyone else try to hide behind the crates?
They never had a chance. I was already behind the crates when the attack started.
Oh, because you're a bitch.
Wait a minute. You were hiding behind the crates before the attack?
Sometimes I need a nap to get through my shift. I sneak off behind the crates to grab 40 wigs where the supervisor can't find me.
You survived because you're lazy?
If you hadn't snuck off for that nap, you'd probably be dead just like all the others.
Gold standard for storytelling, gameplay, and character
I guess.
building. I really hope
really
I
wanna
like
think
it.
about
Like, with as much as you guys have been amping it up and stuff. I want to get a blankie. Here, right here. Okay, let's go.
We need to find that beacon before it's too late.
Take the cargo train. That's where the other Turian went. I can't stay here. I need to get away from all this.
Oh, I forgot I still have my... Why'd I get over there? No, stop. I don't need to be behind cover. Talking to your squad members? Oh, it's one of those, huh? I see. I see.
Take out those hostiles!
Hello.
Not in the middle of a fight!
Oh, you'll talk to me when I fucking say you'll talk to me. What hostiles? What hostiles? Where? Hold left shift to bring up the power wheel. It says powers and special abilities. Have you leveled up? No, I'm doing this level 1. This is level 1 Mass Effect power. I don't know where he went, but... Get out of the fucking way, dudes! There's no way. Alright, no. How'd that miss? What are you shooting at, guys? It's right there, I think. I can. Just tippy tap his little forehead. Him right there? I can't. They're confused. Yeah, that's kind of an understatement, honestly. I have, thank you. Oh, you were there though. Hello? Hello? Pop your head up, it'll be fine. Just go peekaboo. Oh my god, you're annoying. Confused is putting it lightly. So let's try this shotgun. Let's go. Hello, peekaboo. Hi. Bye. Hello, goodbye. You're reinstalling now. Hello. I'm kind of feeling snacky, but I don't know what I want.
Set the charges. Destroy the entire colony. Leave no evidence that we were here.
Keep him out of the way. Does matter for some missions. How do I use health? H for health? H for heals? Your team's talents. Most of our talent. Interview. Good talent. Just one talent. Charm. Let's go. How many points do I have? Does it say? Oh, 9. Okay, no. Okay, so... Has about a barrier to your shield that absorbs damage but cannot block attacks that by those shields. Is it the same 8 points, like, though I have to share it across everybody? No, he has 6. She has 6. Okay. I see. They'll have their own points, just like Baldur's. Okay. I know. What does your hair look like? Oh. Pistols, assault rifles. What is this? Wait, what? There was just something on the side of him that now was me. I recall. How do I heal this? Oh. Okay, sure. Saving.
Demolition charges. The Geth must have planted them.
Hurry! We need to find them all and shut them down.
Okay. Am I crazy? Or I have to go up and around. Let's go. I spent too long leveling. You guys got that, right? Got that? You're doing great. This then. What is that new Pokemon emote that they have? I have one more, it says. There. I would really like to be able to switch weapons without doing that. Like, can I just 1, 2, 3, 4? No. Did it. Go over there. Go over there. Unknown escaped. never be the very best like no one ever was if you don't catch them. I'll never be the very best if I can't shoot. Excuse me? That was so many shots. Being a menace. What else is new? Hello.
We thought this world was safe until the Geth showed up.
Hello. Smells like smoke and death. Oh, you're edgy, huh? You're so edge. Now, do we go? Do I have a map? Oh, is that where I'm supposed to go? Point of interest. Over there. She stopped you from being a Pokemon master? Damn. Whoa, what? How did that just happen? Oh, shit. Hello? Hello? How do I use healing? Use first aid. V. V. Okay, where's not? There we go. This is one of those games that I'm supposed to be like taking cover for every single fight, isn't it? Isn't it? V for very healed, yeah. V for medicine. Alright, I have to get one of these. It's just, it's so hard to like I don't know how to I don't know how to make it go in the direction I want it to go. Like, I don't get it. I just spammed it. That's fucking hilarious. I can't control which direction it goes in. Like, it's not, like, I don't know how to explain it on mouse keyboard. It's not like a direct circle. It's weird. It's stupid to control. I'm just gonna go, whee! Got your cup of tea? Nice. An inventory? It's fine. It'll happen when it happens. It'll happen when it happens. Case the game
Normandy, the beacon is secure.
This is amazing. Actual working Prothean technology. Unbelievable.
It wasn't doing anything like that when they dug it up.
Something must have activated it.
Roger, Normandy. Standing by.
Don't touch it. What's for dinner, Wolfie?
No, don't touch it. It's too...
So good.
We identified the ship that
Wow,
touched down on
titties.
Eden Prime. The Normandy. A human alliance vessel. It was under the command of Captain Anderson. They managed to save the colony.
And the beacon.
One of the humans may have used it.
She just like ever so slightly like moves her head.
This human must be eliminated.
She looks like she should be in Baldur's Gate.
Doctor? Dr. Chakwas.
Chakwas.
I think she's waking up.
Are my ears still okay, Doc?
You had us worried there, Shepard. How are you feeling?
How did I end up here? How long was I out?
About 15 hours.
15.
Something
That's a-
happened down there.
That's
with the
that's a
beacon, I
good
think.
nap right there.
It's my fault. I must have triggered some kind of security field when I approached it. You had to push me out of the way.
You were careless. No.
Where's
About
the
the
beacon
bacon.
now? What happened to it?
The beacon exploded. A system overload, maybe. And the blast knocked you cold. Williams and I had to carry you back here to the ship.
Not a local hospital.
What's the damage, Doctor?
Physically, you're fine. But I detected some unusual brain activity. Abnormal beta waves. I also noticed an increase in your rapid eye movement. Signs typically associated with intense dreaming.
What is with my duck lips?
I saw... I'm not sure what I saw. Death, destruction... Nothing's really clear.
I'm gonna play like my character.
I better add this to my report. It may... Oh, Captain Anderson.
How's our XO holding up, Doctor?
Well, all the readings look normal. I'd say the commander's going to be fine.
Glad to hear it. Shepard, I need to speak with you.
I'm part duck.
In private.
Aye, aye, Captain. I'll be in the mess if you need me.
It was in your backstory.
Sounds like that beacon hit you pretty hard, Commander. Are you sure you're okay?
I like how there's all these things on this side that are like, I feel bad. What happened? I'm pissed off. And then there's this one on the other side that's just, I'm fine. Who's Jenkins? Is that... What's his face?
Did we leave Gunnery Chief Williams back on Eden Prime?
I figured we could use a soldier like her. She's been reassigned to the Normandy.
That's a mistake.
You said you needed to see me in private, Captain?
I won't lie to you, Shepard.
It was lit up.
Things look bad. Nihilus is
Yeah.
dead.
That guy.
The beacon was destroyed
his
and
face.
Geth are invading. The Council's going to want answers.
The Gith Yankee are invading.
I didn't do anything wrong, Captain. Hopefully the Council can see that.
I'll stand behind
I think
you
I want
and
some
your report,
Taco
Shepard.
Bell.
You're a damned hero in my books. That's not why I'm here. It's Saren, that other Turian. Saren's a Spectre, one of the best, a living legend. But if he's working with the Gith, it means he's gone rogue. A rogue Spectre's trouble. Saren's dangerous, and he hates humans.
He hates humans?
Why?
Why?
He thinks we're growing too fast, taking over the galaxy.
Whoever voices female Shepherd is like so dry.
Don't do anything about it.
Why?
But Saren has
Crunchwrap
allied
would be
himself with
awesome.
Geth. I don't know how. I don't know why. I only know it had something to do with that beacon. You were there just before that beacon self-destructed. Did you see anything? Any clue that might tell us what Saren was after?
I had a vision. A visionary
Just before
vision.
I lost consciousness, I
Visionary
had some
provision
kind of
vision.
Vision.
A vision?
A vision.
A vision of what?
A vision. of a warning.
I saw synthetics. Gaff, maybe. Slaughtering people. Butchering them.
Butchering.
We need to report this to the council, Shepard.
I mean...
What are we gonna tell them? I had a bad dream?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, what?
We don't know what information was stored in that beacon. Lost Prothean technology? Blueprints for some ancient weapon of mass destruction? Whatever it was. Saren took it. But I know
I keep, like,
know
it
his
sounds like they're saying
reputation
Sarah.
He believes humans are a blight on the galaxy.
Like, I know that's not what they're saying,
This
but it
attack was
sounds
an
like
act of
Sarah.
war. He has the secrets from the beacon. He has an army of
He has
Geth at
the
his command,
bacon.
and he won't stop until he's wiped humanity from the face of the galaxy.
Wow. You're right. Not if I can help it.
I'll find some way to take him down.
It's not that easy. He's a Spectre. He can go anywhere, do almost anything. That's why we need the Council on our side.
Understood.
We prove Saren's gone rogue and the Council will revoke his Spectre status.
I'll contact the Ambassador and see if he can get us an audience with the Council. He'll want to see us as soon as we reach the Citadel. We should be getting close. Head up to the bridge and tell Joker to bring us into dock.
Seek fluid intake immediately.
Thank you, DJ. Is that enough? No, I need $2 more. Fluid. Listen. We don't need no. We don't need no fluid. Okay. Order. 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 Okay, ordered. Tacos. Tacos. One day I'm gonna play this. That day.
Glad to
today.
Commander, I'm glad to see you're okay.
Today should be that
Losing
day,
Jenkins
see?
was hard
Yeah,
and
DJ
cruel.
doesn't have anything to
I'm
play
glad we
it on,
didn't lose
unfortunately.
you too.
Soldiers die.
Things were pretty rough down there.
Yeah, you never get used to seeing dead civilians.
What is
Doesn't
that?
seem
I
right
can't
somehow.
tell.
But at least you stopped Saren from wiping out the whole colony.
I couldn't have done it without you.
We're Marines. We stick together. And I'm just sorry that we lost Jenkins.
Yeah, I wish I could have done something to save him.
I was there. You did everything right. It was just bad luck. And it's
You
been
did
a hell of a
everything
shakedown,
right in a
Cruz.
cutscene that
The
you
first
couldn't
mission
control
ends
your
with one
character.
Spectre killing another. The Citadel Council's not going to be happy about that. Probably use it to lever more concessions out of the Alliance.
You've got a good grasp of the situation. You a career man?
Yeah, a lot of biotics are. We're not restricted, but we sure don't go undocumented. May as well get a paycheck for it. Besides, my father served. I made him proud when I enlisted. Eventually. But is that why you're here? Because of your family?
Sure.
I was a regular Navy brat. I got a little more noteworthy than the folks expected.
Oh, that's right, the Blitz. I imagine that bought you any post in the fleet.
Semper Fi.
Word is we're heading for the Citadel, ma'am. Can you, tell me why?
I don't
The
like
captain
being
hopes
called
the
ma'am.
ambassador can get an audience with the council. Tell them what Saren's been up to.
Makes sense. They'd probably like to know he's not working for them anymore. Whatever happens, we'll be ready, Commander.
Commander Poop reporting for duty. Hello, who are you? Oh, Bish, hi.
I'm glad you're okay, Commander. The crew could use some good news after what happened to Jenkins.
Jenkins was a valuable part of this crew.
Part of
Totally
me feels guilty
valuable.
over what happened. If Jenkins was still alive, I might not be here.
You're a good soldier, Williams. You belong on the Normandy.
Thanks, Commander. That means a lot from you. I've never met anyone who was awarded the Star of Terra.
The Star of Terra?
Things were pretty rough down there. Are you okay?
I've seen friends die before. Comes with being a Marine. But to see my whole unit wiped out, and you never get used to seeing dead civilians. But things would have been a lot worse if you hadn't shown up.
We couldn't have done it without you, Williams.
Thanks, Commander. I have to admit, I was a little worried about being assigned to the Normandy. It's nice when someone makes you feel welcome.
I think you're gonna fit in here just fine, Williams.
Thanks, Commander.
Thanks, Commander. And listen, I do fully stand behind any of the choices that my mods make. So, hello? That's right, you better fucking salute me. I'm your superior in every single sense of the word. Hello. Right. Ooh, with this. Come, Link. Oh, nothing. All right. Hello.
Glad you're okay, Commander.
Oh, yeah, losing Jenkins. It was losing Jenkins was the worst, man. It was so bad. Man, losing Jenkins, I don't know how we're gonna ever recover from this. Are we ever gonna recover from the loss of Jenkins? No.
Good timing, Commander. I was just about to bring us into the Citadel. See that taxpayer money at work.
Ooh. It looks like a big gun. Harris is good as spy. Go in the anus. Go in the space anus. The Spanus.
Look at the size of that ship.
The Ascension, flagship of the Citadel fleet.
Well, size isn't everything.
Wow.
Why so touchy, Joker?
I'm just saying you need firepower too.
Look at that monster. Its main gun could rip through the barriers in any ship in the Alliance fleet.
Good thing it's on our side then.
Citadel Control, this is SSV Normandy, requesting permission to land.
Stand by for clearance, Normandy. Clearance granted. You may begin your approach. Transferring you to an Alliance operator.
Roger, Alliance Tower. Normandy out.
Normandy, this is Alliance Tower. Please proceed to Dock 422.
I laughed at that more than I should have. Lodine. Oh, it's pretty actually.
This is an outrage! The Council would step in if the Geth attacked a Turian colony?
The Turians don't found colonies on the borders of the Terminus systems, Ambassador.
Humanity was well aware of the risks when you went into the Traverse.
What about Saren? You can't just ignore a rogue Spectre. I demand action!
You don't get to make demands of the Council, Ambassador.
Citadel Security is investigating your charges against Saren. We will discuss the CSEC findings at the hearing, not before.
Captain Anderson, I see you brought half your crew with you.
Just the ground team from Eden Prime, in case you had any questions.
I have the mission reports. I assume they're accurate?
I do like Ashley's
are.
like armor though.
Sounds like you convinced the Council to give us an audience.
They were not happy about it.
Not
Saren's
happy.
their top agent. They don't like him being accused of treason.
Is the truth?
Saren's a threat to every human colony out there. If they don't stop him, I will.
Settle down, Commander. You've already done more than enough to jeopardize your candidacy for the Spectres. The mission on Eden Prime was a chance to prove you could get the job done. Instead, Nihilus ended up dead and the beacon was destroyed.
That's Saren's fault, not hers.
Then we better hope the CSEC investigation turns up evidence to support our accusations. Otherwise, the Council might use this as an excuse to keep you out of the Spectres. Come with me, Captain. I want to go over a few things before the hearing. Shepard, you and the others can meet us at the Citadel Tower, top level. I'll make sure you have clearance to get in.
And that's why I hate politicians.
Press M to access your map. Okay. Drag map. Oh. Oh. No, I didn't mean to do that. Ooh, okay. Okay. Follow the pulsing arrow. I don't wanna. Don't tell me what to do. Let me out. Let me out. Let me out. This way? We had to state it twice. Wow. Oh, hi.
Hello there, human.
Hello.
Sincere apology, but I am here on business and cannot be distracted right now.
You seem distressed. Is there something I can do to help?
Alarmed response. You overheard that, did you? This is all going so wrong. And it is the Asari consort's fault. She's the one who started all this.
Who's this Asari consort?
Curious, you have not heard.
Promised consort
You must
Radon.
be new to the Citadel. Everyone knows Sha'ira, the consort. I cannot speak more about this problem. It is too sensitive. Suffice it to say, she has compromised my authority as a diplomat.
Where can I find this Asari consort?
She is across the bridge from here. Her offices are easy enough to spot. Good day, human.
Good day, human.
EarthClan, you are in the wrong place, I think. Your ambassador is next door in the large office.
Chastising remark. Don't be so rude, Dan. At least introduce yourself.
This reminds me of the Ents from
I
Lord of the
am
Rings.
Din Korlak, Volus ambassador. Is there something I can do for you, EarthClan?
What is this place?
You are in the embassy for the Volus and the Elcor.
Your ambassador is next door, in his own office.
In this shared space, I aid my fellow Volus when I'm not being interrupted.
Goodbye, Ambassador.
Yes, yes. Good day, EarthClan.
Hello, Spidder. Spidder. It's a Spidder. Just taking a leisurely stroll. Open keys. Wait, can I go in here? Let me in. Hip ups.
Welcome to the Presidium.
Can I have your pretty
Allow me
dress?
to be your guide.
Wait, do you have tentacles on your head, ma'am? Ma'am. It's not where tentacles go.
Welcome to the Presidium. Allow me to
Presidium.
Greetings and welcome to the Presidium. My name
Presidium.
is Alina, and I am pleased to be your virtual guide throughout this level of the Citadel space
Are
station.
you real? No, she just said she's a virtual guide, you fucking
What does
idiot.
that mean?
I am a fully interactive virtual intelligence, programmed to provide spontaneous guidance at predetermined locations of interest throughout this level of the Citadel. I may also be contacted through any of the Presidium VI terminals, should you require assistance.
Give me the tour.
You are standing at Presidium Tourism Terminal 1. On either side of this lobby are the embassies of the various Citadel races, along with CSEC headquarters.
Like, what the fuck
On the
kind of
far end
question
this
is
level,
that?
You can see the Citadel Tower, where the
Are
council
you
meets
real?
regularly to discuss
No,
matters of
she
interstellar importance.
She literally just said she's digital. The fuck? Under the Captain Obvious, right? The fuck is that?
Goodbye,
The
and thank
fuck?
you for using Avina.
That was stupid.
Please enjoy your visit to the Citadel.
Hello, ma'am.
Good day, Commander.
Good
The
day.
human ambassadors up the
On a
stairs,
galaxy
first
not
room
so
on the
far
right.
away, trust on a wild ride through Mass Effect. Solid Nass and Taco Bell slaps. Ashley, universally reviled. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Mass Effect Mayhem. Hashtag Mass
You know
Effect
who I am?
Mayhem.
Yes, I receive reports on all newly arrived dignitaries and notable people.
Even Frosty knows. Hot Frosties.
I should be going now.
Have a
I should be
pleasant
going
day.
now. Squid lady. Squid lady. Arrow? Oh, what structure 50, right. CSEC. Ba-da. Hello, what is it's Citadel Rapid Transport. I don't want to go that way yet. What'd that say? That's probably the Citadel. A Frosty for oh, I just ordered Taco Bell. Why did you say that? Almost done downloading, and then Kojak is gone for the night because Kojak's gonna start playing. Is there anything else to explore? Oh, there is. There's a thing this way. It's a spidder. Yes.
Look at that bug thing over there. Please do
Spidder.
not disturb the keepers.
Spidder. It's a spidder.
Welcome to Presidium Tourism Terminal 2. You are standing near the base of the Citadel Tower, one of the Presidium's most recognizable and important structures. Behind me is the spectacular Relay Monument, a scale model representation of a Prothean mass relay. To your left is one of the keepers,
Voltorb.
the enigmatic caretakers of the Citadel.
Because they mind their
working on a
business.
control
They're
panel.
spidders.
You may see keepers involved in various tasks throughout all levels of the Citadel. We ask that you do not interfere with them in any way. The keepers are essential to the smooth operation of the Citadel. Obstructing their daily work will result in harsh penalties, including incarceration and rehabilitation.
That's all for now.
Thank you for using Avina. Have a pleasant day.
Hello, lady. I like your dress. Can I have it? It would be nice if you gave it to me. Touch spidder, go to jail. Can I have pretty dress? I didn't rob her. I didn't. I asked her nice. City of locations. Let's go there. Pulled a gun on her? I asked her nicely. Put your guns away, guys. Be crazy. Don't be crazy. I can't get in. I can't get in. Your NPCs should not body block you. Oh look, pretty lady, pretty dress. Right, fine, I will go to the shitty hell. Feist. Go so feist. Go so feist. Go so feist. You can talk to, but I didn't see, but that's up to you. No, I'll do side quests, but like, not all of them have
Saren's
like
hiding
circles.
something. Give me more time. Stall them.
Stall the council? Don't be ridiculous. Your investigation is over, Garrus.
Commander Shepard, Garrus Vicarian. I was the officer in charge of the CSEC investigation into Saren.
There's no way that this is who you romance.
Sounds like you really want to bring him down.
I don't trust him. Something about him rubs me the wrong way. But he's a Spectre. Everything he touches is classified. I can't
You
find
guys
any
are fucked up.
I think the council's ready for us, Commander.
Good luck, Shepard. Maybe they'll listen to you.
You guys are fucked up. That's what acknowledges this Andromeda. I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing.
Don't be ridiculous. The Volus won't be joining the council for you.
I'm not so sure. The humans are making a strong push.
He's loyal. Good luck finding an Astarian equivalent in this game. I don't want an Astarian equivalent. There's only one Astarian, and he's not a good dude. He's not a good person. He doesn't treat your character well. I just fucking love him so much.
Commander?
I just love his tortured backstory and stuff. What happened in the Anders, man? I'm trying to think of anybody that I like loved as much as that.
The Geth attack is a matter of some concern, but there is nothing to indicate Saren was involved in any way.
The investigation by Citadel Security turned up no evidence to support your charge of treason.
An eyewitness
She's
saw him kill
very
Nihilus
blue.
in cold blood.
We've read
Astarian,
the
yeah,
Prime
from
reports,
Baldur's
Ambassador.
Gate 3, yeah.
The testimony of one traumatized dock worker is
I'm afraid
hardly
to ask how many
compelling
runs
proof.
you have.
I resent these accusations.
I think
Nihilus was a fellow Spectre and a friend.
That just let you catch him off guard.
Captain Anderson.
I think like
You
20.
always seem to be involved when humanity makes false charges against me.
I think 22.
And this must be your protege, Commander Shepard.
I think 22
The
characters.
one who let the beacon get destroyed.
You killed him and tossed his corpse into a lake?
The mission to Eden Prime was top secret.
I've
the only way
never-
you could know about the beacon was if
I
you were
could
there.
never. I love
With
Astarian
Nihilus
so
gone,
much.
his files passed on to me. I read the Eden Prime report. I was unimpressed. But what can you expect from a human?
Wow.
Saren
Sarah's
despises humanity.
mad rude.
That's why he attacked Eden Prime.
Your species needs to learn its place, Shepard. You're not ready to join the Council. You're not even ready to join the Spectres.
He has no right to say that. That's not his decision.
Shepard's admission into the Spectres is not the purpose of this meeting.
This meeting has no purpose. The humans are wasting your time.
He tried to pull some vamp. Yes, he does try to bite you. You can tell him no. You can push him off and tell him no. You don't have to kill him. Or you can let him bite you and kill you and then resurrect yourself in the morning.
Saren's hiding behind his position as a Spectre. You need to open your eyes.
What we need is evidence. So far, we've seen nothing.
There is still one outstanding issue. Commander Shepard's vision. It may have been triggered by the beacon.
Are we allowing dreams into evidence now? How can I defend my innocence against this kind of testimony?
I agree. Our judgment must be based on facts and evidence, not wild imaginings and reckless speculation.
Do you have anything else to add, Commander Shepard?
No, because y'all bitches.
You've made your decision. I won't waste my breath.
The Council has found no evidence of any connection between Saren and the Geth. Ambassador, your petition to have him disbarred from the Spectres is denied.
I'm glad to see justice was served.
This meeting is adjourned.
So I got some Star Wars Phantom Menace bullshit going on right now.
It was a mistake bringing you into that hearing, Captain. You and Saren have too much history. It made the Council question our motive.
I know Saren. He's working with the Geth for one reason. To exterminate the entire human race. Every colony we have is at risk. Every world we control is in danger. Even Earth isn't safe.
Tell me about this history between you and Saren.
Space government's useless.
I worked with him on a mission a long time ago. Things went bad. Real
Things
bad.
you do will affect things in the next game.
We shouldn't talk about this here.
Cool, so I can
know
just
what he's
commit
like.
mass
And he has to be
genocide
stopped.
and stuff.
What's our next step?
As a Spectre,
Amazing.
he's virtually untouchable. We need to find some way to expose
Similar
him.
likes in games? Like what? What kind of games?
What about Garrus, that C-Sec investigator?
I want
We saw him
Ashley's
arguing with
armor.
the
I like her armor better than my
That's right.
stupid armor.
He was asking for more time to finish his report. Seems like he was close to finding something on Saren.
Any idea where we could find him?
I have a contact in C-Sec who can help us track Garrus down. His name is Harkin.
Forget it. They suspended Harkin last month, drinking on the job. I won't waste my time with that loser.
You won't have to. I don't want the Council using your past
Far Cry,
history with
Control,
Saren as an
Star Wars,
excuse to ignore
Subnautica,
anything
please.
we turn up.
Um,
Shepard will handle this.
Control is like free all the time on like Epic Games and stuff. I'm pretty sure I have it. I wanted to play it eventually. The new Star Wars game I think looks good, but I don't think I can get. I honestly don't think I can get any like new games until I replace my my CPU and my GPU.
You can't just cut Captain Anderson out of this investigation.
The ambassador's right. I need to step
Yeah,
aside.
yeah,
I
they
need
give
to take care
control
of some
away all
business.
the time.
Captain, meet me in my office later.
And a bunch of the Far Cries are on Game Pass.
Harkin's probably getting drunk at Cora's Den. It's a dingy little club in the lower section of the wards.
I thought you said he was a drunken loser.
Callisto.
Couldn't hurt to go talk to him. Just be careful. I wouldn't call him reliable.
You and Saren have a history. What happened?
About 20 years ago, I
Free
was part
Prime,
of a
yeah.
mission in the Skillian Verge.
I must make pee
I was working with Saren to find and remove
Better
a
hurry
known
up, I'm gonna beat the whole
terrorist
game
threat.
while you're gone.
Saren eliminated his target, but a lot of people died along the way. Innocent people. And the
Dead
official
Space.
records just
I played
covered it all up.
whatever the Dead Space is,
saw
it's
how he
co-op. I played it with Chris
No
a
conscience.
long time ago. That was
No
the very first game Chris and I played together.
He'd kill 1,000 innocent civilians to end a war without a second thought.
He's a monster.
Killing innocents doesn't end wars. It causes them.
I know how the world works, Commander. Sometimes you're forced to make unpleasant decisions, but only if there's no other way. Saren
I
doesn't
feel like
even
I
look
need
for
a new
another option.
headset, but
He's
I
twisted,
really
broken.
don't. I just
He likes the violence.
don't like
the
how this
killing.
one feels on my head anymore.
And
It's
he
like
knows
heavy.
how to cover his tracks.
All right, I already okay.
I
said
should
that
go.
already.
Good luck, Shepard.
Good luck, Shepard.
I'll be over in the ambassador's office.
Yeah. Okay.
So, this is where the council passes judgment on all us little folk, huh?
La la la
Ever
la
get the feeling
la.
we're in
Oh, is that north or is that where I'm supposed to go?
I bet all these staircases aren't just for show. They make for good defensive positions if this place is ever attacked.
You sure have to climb a lot of stairs to reach the council. Think that's supposed to be
This game's
symbolic?
supposed. You have yet to. Really? That was Baldur's Gate for me. Baldur's Gate was one of those that I did not.
What?
I didn't anticipate for it to draw me in as much as it did, and I ended up investing 700 hours into it.
But I wouldn't believe everything you hear.
But it was very unexpected. Yeah, sometimes you just find something. Like, I'm not gonna lie, so far, I mean, I'm what? I'm not even 2 hours in. Excuse me. So far, I don't find myself, like, very, like, invested in these characters yet, but I'm not very far into it yet, so. You know what I mean?
I can't believe the Council ignored all the evidence.
Saren's one of their best operatives. It's only natural they'd take his word over ours.
Oh, so now we just chase leads while this smug Turian runs around with his Geth troopers.
That's politics, Chief.
I hate politics.
Choose who to romance. You have to give this game time. Yeah. Usually you do. Okay, so I did this one already. Did they not? The point of interest? Yeah, it looks like the points of interest don't go away until... Okay. Where's my plot? Where's my plot? Oh yeah, like yeah. It said that they had to go to that bar. So, but where's the bar? I keep hitting the wrong thing. Lounge. Concert chambers. Maybe here? Maybe it's the lounge? Mabba? Bars in the wards. The wards. Bars in the wards.
You're not allowed in here. This one believes it has the right to move freely through this area.
You're creating a public disturbance. It's against Citadel regulations.
This one is unsure why the other would not wish word of the enkindlers to be spread.
Where's my food? I don't want my food to get cold. Oh, my food is here. Have a good night. I'm Eepy. Okay, Nikki. I hope you have a wonderful night too. Get some eats.
In light of the recent attack on Eden Prime, many colonial investors are pulling their support for future projects. Proponents of expanded human colonization insist that Eden Prime was an isolated case. Nevertheless, colonist enrollment has dropped sharply. Many colonial proposals are on hold until backers have some reassurance that human colonies will be adequately protected.
Perfect timing. Ooh, look at that dress. That's cool.
Do you really think we'll find him down?
He always stops in for a few games of Quasar before he makes his drop.
Quasar.
He's gonna be pissed if we take down his supplier.
That's the point. We want him angry. Angry people make mistakes.
Angry people make mistakes. I want this dress. Man, I wish I could wear something like that in real life, though. It's so cute. Wait. Wait, where? Is that it? I'm confused.
A Solarian excavation team has run into an unexpected problem after unearthing a Prothean dig site. Hanar protesters have blockaded the dig site, claiming that artifacts of the Enkindlers, as the Hanar call them, should not be disturbed. The excavation team has appealed to Hanar representatives on the Citadel to reach a diplomatic solution.
You are absolutely right, Kojak. It does feel like a rat maze. Markets and Cora's den.
Commander Shepard? Excuse me, Commander Shepard!
Hello, I'm here.
I'm Emily Wong. I'm an investigative journalist working here on the Citadel.
You're an investigative journalist? Okay.
What do you need?
I've been hunting for evidence of corruption and organized crime on the Citadel, but there are places I can't go. I was hoping you might share anything you find during your own investigation. I can make it worth your time.
Sure.
Sounds like a good cause. If I find any information, it's yours.
Thank you, Commander. You won't regret it.
Investigator.
I don't think you bought this here. I don't sell this model.
Look, I know it was you. I remember your face.
How is there a whole fucking transit vehicle inside this building?
This was the place. Now, are you gonna give me a refund?
Hello, who are you?
Do you have your proof of...
Best place on this ward to buy upgrades.
Cause sci-fi? Yeah, but I mean, like, that's pushing it even for sci-fi.
Prices are pretty good here.
How come I can't shop from him? Oh.
Hello, Earth Clan. No doubt you've just come back from the colonies. Will you be needing supplies?
Mm-hmm. Show me what you've got.
Most excellent. I am sure you will find something pleasing.
Wait, didn't it say I can't wear heavy armor because I'm a siren? $40 million billion. 40K. Watched Passengers earlier. I can't buy anything yet. I'm so poor. I'm so very poor. I'm so poor. I'm so very poor. You're getting a muffin? What kind? Oh, I just got. You can sell stuff? But how do I know I won't use it? What if I need it later? Go into your inventory? I don't know how. Mark stuff as junk. Mark you as junk. It's all the same gun, yeah? Yeah.
Is that really... What?
Conrad
You're Commander
Werner.
Shepard, the hero of Eden Prime. I am so honored to meet you.
Why do you kind of sound sarcastic about it?
Nice to meet you. And you are?
My name is Conrad. Conrad Werner. They say you killed more than 100 Geth on Eden Prime.
Wow.
I
Leave
spent
me
most
alone.
of my time trying to stay alive and help the colonists.
Hey, I know you're probably busy, but do you have time for a quick autograph?
Yes. Yes.
Anything for a fan.
Yes.
Thanks.
Anything for a fan.
I really appreciate it. My wife is going to be so impressed. I'll let you get back to work. Oh, but next time you're on Earth, I'd love to buy you a drink. Thanks again.
I thought he was actually going to ask me on a date. And then he's like, my wife will be so impressed with this autograph. What? You doubt the legitimacy of this marriage? You don't think he's actually married, or what? Hello.
Hello there. Welcome to Moorland's famous shop. You want many good supplies, yes?
Yes, yes. Fidget has wares if you have coin.
Let me see what you have.
Oh, you will be pleased, I think. Very good things I have. You will see.
How can I, like, compare? You have many good supplies, yes? Oh, I see it now, underneath. I wasn't looking there, I was looking down. Where it says buy, sell, and buy back. Actually. What is that? Normandy quarterback. Are you eating ice cream? No, it's rice. Rice and beans and potatoes. Oh, your dishes are done. Let's go, Kojak. You're gonna settle in. How come I? Oh. That? How do I do? Did I do?
Hello
Did I
there.
buy?
Welcome to Moorland's famous shop. You want many good supplies, yes?
Yes. Your tea is cold? No.
Let me see what you have.
Oh, you will be pleased, I think. Very good things I have. You will see.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay. So I did buy. I see. I see. I see. I see. I understand how that works. Okay. Damn, where is this dude?
That's her.
Holy shit. Stood in front of me. I don't know how much time I just lost there too. Alright, first of all. Alright, can you guys go over there or something? Like, you guys are in the way. What happened is actually stay still. Stay still, let me hear you.
Those were Saren's men.
Mm-hmm. I have like 3 more bites left of my rice and beans, guys. I'm sorry. Oh my god, stop. Okay, you can put your guns away now.
Back off, Rex. Fist told us to take you down when you showed up.
What are you waiting for? I'm standing right here. This is Fist's only chance. If he's smart, he'll take it.
He's not coming out, Rex. End of story.
This story is just beginning.
The sniper.
Out of my way, humans. I have no clue.
It's so nice.
What was that all about?
Who knows? Let's just try not to get caught in the middle.
Closer.
Hey there, sweetheart. You looking for some fun? Because I gotta say, that soldier get-up looks real good on that body of yours. Why don't you sit your sweet little ass down beside old Harkin? Have a drink. See where this goes.
Why are you a creep?
Maybe later.
Suit yourself, princess. You know, if more Marines looked like you, I might have joined the Alliance instead of CSEC.
I don't like this guy. He's kind of gross.
I'm looking for a CSEC officer.
Garrus? You must be one of Captain Anderson's crew. I know where Garrus is, but you gotta tell me something first. Did the captain let you in on his big secret?
Did we fireball him? Wrong game.
But it's all related, don't you see? The captain used to be a Spectre. Didn't know that, did you? It was all very hush-hush. The first human ever given that honor, and then he blew it. Screwed up his mission so bad they kicked him out. Of course, he blames Saren. Says the Turians set him up.
What?
Why'd they kick him out?
Have to ask him. I never heard any of the details. Bet it's a good story, though. The heroes fall. Classic tragedy.
Why'd they kick him out?
Have to ask him. I never heard any of the details. Bet it's a good story.
You said they covered all this up.
I spent 20 years working cases here on the Citadel. People on this station love to talk.
Secrets are like herpes.
If you got them, you might as well spread them around.
That's gross.
You're a pig.
Just noticed that now, did you?
That's gross.
Alright. Just tell me where Garrus went.
Garrus was sniffing around Dr. Michelle's office. She runs the med clinic on the other side of the wards. Last I heard, he was going back there.
I'm out of here.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Go. Let me drink in peace.
Is her butt hanging out? Oh my gosh. Is this her booty?
Not now. I'm watching the show. Go away. I'm not interested in... I got business here, but not with you.
Are you blue? You're blue, but a different blue? Sorry, space. Why did I block? And where's Yaga? Alright. So I have to go.
Why didn't Captain Anderson tell us he used to be a Spectre?
To
Maybe it's not true. Harkin's an ass.
the med bay.
Thing with our heads.
You're probably right.
Is this right? I'm not sure. To lower market. Wait. Lower market. Wait, no, they said they said that the doctor's office is at the end of the den, but not here.
The back rooms are private, reserved for Fist and his friends.
Who's Fist?
He owns this club, but the customers have to stay out front.
What did that other Krogan want? Rex.
Personal matter.
Not real chatty, is he?
Goodbye.
Enjoy the club.
Okay.
You need something, honey?
What's it like working for CSEC?
You mean, what was it like? Every mistake I ever made, skim a couple of credits off a drug bust, note in the file. It's a goddamn witch hunt.
You get off easy if you ask.
What the hell do you know? Working for CSEC isn't like being a Marine.
People get pissed off when we shoot. Yeah, usually.
Every day I plowed through enough red tape to choke a rhino. That's how you gotta be to do this job. So don't talk to me about right.
You need to look in a mirror.
Sober up and take some responsibility.
Save your sermons. This ain't no church.
Okay.
I'm out of here.
Yeah,
I'm
good.
out of here.
Go.
Shut up. Oh, I can watch. Hello. Where's Goodest Boy? They won't let me in this thing. The hair flip with no hair. I know. Jenna.
Sorry, I'll get to you when I can.
I like. Oh, I was gonna say I like Jenna's hair, but it's just the light. Okay, so else to go in here? He won't me in. Yeah, and then I don't know. There's some mission stuff, but there's literally no one else to even talk to. Like, everyone's like, leave me alone. Like, I talked to her, I can't talk to him. That's just watching. This guy, yeah. These guys just want to watch. He won't let me in. No one else is top. And that's the entrance. I only have 2 right now. I just looked. Expose Saren and then I have the side quests from the Emily. Yeah, they said that he's at the doctor's office with the. How can you talk to for info? You have to go to the consort first. No, it said that. Okay. Slow down, Yaga. Stop. One thing at a time. First of all, stop. They said Garrus is at the he hangs out with this doctor lady. I gave you 3 options. Yeah, but none. But first of all, I didn't. That wasn't even what I asked. That wasn't even what I said. Yeah, med clinic. That's what I'm looking for. Usagi, hello. Welcome in. Med clinic in C6. Okay. Hello. I can walk briskly. How come nobody talks to me? Bitches.
I didn't tell anyone, I swear.
That was smart, Doc. Now if Garrus comes around, you stay smart. Keep your mouth shut or we'll... Who are you?
Let her go.
Ah!
Okay. Can you, like, get over and... Go somewhere else, dude.
Now I'm ready.
Honestly. I will never get used to that being... Hello, I'll be with you in a moment. Hey, hello.
Perfect timing, Shepard. Gave me a clear shot at that bastard.
You're welcome.
Glad I could help.
Dr. Michelle, are you hurt?
No, I'm okay. Thanks to you. All of you.
Why were they threatening you? Who do they work for?
They work for Feast. They wanted to shut me up, keep me from telling Garrus about the Quarian.
Does this have anything to do with the investigation into Saren?
I think it might. Dr. Michelle, tell us what happened.
Tell us what happened.
A few days ago, a Quarian came by my office. She'd been shot, but she wouldn't tell me who did it. I could tell she was scared, probably on the run. She asked me about the Shadow Broker. She wanted to trade information in exchange for a safe place to hide.
Where is she now?
I put her in contact with Fist. He's an agent for the Shadow Broker.
Yeah, but I can't get into Fist's
Not anymore.
little office.
Now he works for Saren. And the Shadow Broker isn't too happy about it.
Fist betrayed the Shadow Broker? That's stupid even for him. Saren must have made him quite the offer.
That Quarian must have something Saren wants. Something worth crossing the Shadow
Guys,
Broker
I'm sorry. I have to tell you right now. I cannot get down with romancing Garrus. The voice is like weird. His little tentacle. You guys are freaks.
What else can you tell me about the Quarian?
I'm not sure. Like I said, she wanted to trade information for a place to hide. She didn't...
Like, his voice has that weird,
Wait
like...
a minute. Geth. Her information
it's like two voices on top of each other.
She must be able to link Saren to the Geth.
Yeah,
There's
it's like
no
that
way the
robot.
Council
Yeah, I
can
don't like
ignore
it.
this.
Ugh. Fist has her.
Time we paid Fist a visit.
This is your show, Shepard. But I want to bring Saren down as much as you do. I'm coming with you.
Okay.
Welcome aboard, Garrus.
You know, we aren't the only ones going after Fist. The Shadow Broker hired a Krogan bounty hunter named Rex to take him out.
Yeah, we saw him in the bar.
Sure.
A Krogan might come in handy.
Yaga's, yeah,
Last I
Yaga
heard,
and
he was
Bubbles,
at the
apparently.
C-Sec Academy.
What's he doing there?
Oh, Bubbles, are you still here?
Fist accused him of making threats. We brought Rex in for a little
Because
talk.
I've been playing this
If
other
you hurry,
game
you
off
can catch
stream.
him at the academy before
Well, let
he
me watch
leaves.
the rest of this.
Move out.
Oh, okay, cool. I've been playing this other game off stream, and you don't name the characters. They're automatically generated characters, and there's a character that's Bubbles. Okay. Who are these bitches? Oh, I can only have two? Okay. She looks kind of cool.
If you feel lucky, we should visit the casino over in Flux.
No, we're not gambling. We're not gamba. Gligar in chat. Okay. So now... Does it update these? Okay, Krogan Hunter might be able to help you. Okay. So... Is that back... You can't look at other maps. Okay. So do I have to go back to
Don't kid yourself. It's even
the
How would you know?
Kara's den?
one of 500 to see the ascension.
Because isn't that where Rex was? Right? Where he was the first time I met him. I don't know where he is now. I don't think this is right. Yeah, I don't think this is right. Can you open please? Open please. Look at me run. Look at me run.
Looks like it's shut down.
Fist knows we're coming.
Oh! My guy! Why? Why have you betrayed me? Why have you betrayed me? Why am I stuck on nothing? Okay, can you Did they kill him or is he going in circles? He's over here. Okay. I was like, I don't think we killed him. Shit. What are we shooting at, friends? Oh, that's good. Shoot him in the shoulder. The head. Okay. Very nice, very nice, very nice. I wanna, do these blow up? I'm curious. Yeah, they do. I thought so. I thought so. Oh, is he gonna...
Stop right there. Don't.
Stop right there. I don't think I will. In fact, I think I'm gonna walk right into your face and kill you. It's so much easier to hack those when you don't try to actually move the thing around. Fist. On the fist. Let's use a snipe power on the fist.
Don't kill me, I surrender.
Oh yeah, of course you surrender. Smart move. Hi, Ark, welcome in.
Where's the Quarian?
She's not here. I don't know where she is. That's the truth.
He's lying.
Shh, Ashley, chill.
You got 3 seconds to come clean. Then I start shooting.
Pussies.
The Quarian isn't here. Said you'd only deal with the Shadow Broker himself.
Impossible. The Shadow Broker only works through his agents.
Nobody meets the Shadow Broker, ever. Even I don't know his true identity. But she didn't know that.
He
I told
looks
her I'd set a meeting up.
quite
But when she
healthy for
shows
being
up,
shot in the
Sarah's
dome
been
several
waiting
times
for
with a sniper.
Give me the location, now.
Here on the wards, the back alley by the markets.
Back
She's
alley by the
supposed to meet
market.
them right now. You can make it if you hurry. Do I spare him and let him go, or do I kill him?
I never want to see you again. Is that clear?
Don't worry, you'll never see me again.
Don't worry, you'll never see me again. Go to the Quarian and warn her before it's too late. Where? Ah! Help! 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 Let's get this, I guess. And this. Have I never been here before? Oh, hello. Welcome in, Arkstar. Very nice to meet you. Welcome to the channel. How did you find the channel? Bro, I'm a better shot than my character is. Like, I keep making shots and it's like all over the place. Alright. Hello. Goodbye. I did shoot the D. Maybe better luck with a pistola. No, it is the lower markets, right? Wait. Have fun, see you around. Okay, DJ. Yeah, lower markets. Why am I...
Warm up.
Can you stand up?
On me.
Moving out.
What is she doing? Oh my gosh.
Seek fluid intake immediately.
Not supposed to shoot like a stormtrooper?
Did you bring it?
Where's the Shadow Broker? Where's Fist?
They'll be here. Where's the evidence?
No way. The deal's off. My weapon. I got overheated. Cause she's cool, that's why. Set me up. I knew I couldn't trust him.
She's like a female Zero.
I know how to look after myself. Not that I don't appreciate the help.
She's okay.
Who are you?
You're a hater. Who are you? My bitch.
My name's Shepard. I'm looking for evidence to prove Saren's a traitor.
Then I have a chance to repay you for saving my life. But not here. We need to go somewhere safe.
The ambassador's office. It's safe there. He'll want to see this anyway.
Yeah, that was a huge piece of lettuce.
You're not making my life easy, Shepard. Firefights in the wards, an all-out assault on Korra's den. Do you know how
How you like Mass Effect? It's okay so far.
Who's this? A Quarian? What are you up to, Shepard?
Making your day, Ambassador. She has information linking Saren to the Geth.
Not like I know her backstory.
Maybe you better start at the beginning, Miss...
My name is Tali. Tali Zora Naraya.
We don't see many Quarians here. Why did you leave the flotilla?
Flotilla? Tortilla flotilla?
I was on my pilgrimage. My rite of passage into adulthood.
I've never heard of this before.
It is a tradition among my people. When we reach maturity, we leave the ships of our parents and our people behind. Alone, we search the stars.
only returning to the flotilla once
King
we have
Cook,
discovered something
hello.
of value. In this way, we prove ourselves
Thank you so much for the
worthy of
raid.
adulthood.
How was your Pokemon stream? Hello, hello, hello. Lexi, hello. Killjoy, hello. Hello, how was your stream? How was Pokemon? I'm bringing the kitchen to you. Lila. Hi, Lila. Welcome in. Good to see you again. Hi, Dap. The new champion. Let's go. Let's go. Of course there's an ad. Of course there's an ad. Why wouldn't there be an ad? We're gonna hang out and wait for a second. Because apparently there's gonna be an ad during a raid. I swear Twitch has started doing that. Excuse me. I feel like Twitch has like started like messing with the timing of the raids. Or with the ads, like with raids and stuff. So that's crazy. So we'll hang and wait for a second. We have a minute left. So good to see you, Dap. So good to see you, Lila. Oh my gosh. You too? Yeah. Ugh. I'm playing my first playthrough of Mass Effect. How is Mass Effecting going? So far, it's okay. It's okay. I'm not very deep into the story quite yet. So I'm just kind of like lost in the very first like map area, just kind of exploring and trying to find my way. I'm excited to play the series, and I'm excited to see it all play out, because just I have so many friends who have played it and love it, and this was gifted to me by Yaga, and like I'm excited to get into it, but like right now, you know, 2.5 hours in, I'm just like, it's okay. It's okay. You know. Okay, the ad break is over. Hello, Raiders. Hello, hi, welcome in. If this is your first time here, hello, welcome. If you do not know me, my name is Krista, or Pinxel. Most people just call me Pink. I'm a variety streamer, and I play whatever the heck I want. That is anything. That includes things like Lego games, Nintendo games, simulators, shooters, survival games, RPGs, Souls-likes, everything in between. I hope you have your comfy blanket and your popcorn ready, because I have a little trailer that I like to show when we get a raid to see if this is someplace you might want to hang out, get to know us, spend some time. And if you want to upset me, definitely don't call me Pin, because it drives me absolutely crazy. But I hope you guys enjoy this really quick video. I will see you on the other side, and then we can chat more about Mass Effect. And I'll see you soon. Hi there, friends. Are you a human being with disgusting bodily functions? Everyone comes here for the PPC, the peak poop content. I have poopies for you. I'm sorry that you didn't get to experience the butts. Look at that donk.
Why are you so excited for this?
And I died. Oopsies. You can't do anything with human meat, which is kind of boring. Put your clothes on. What if you just like collected a bunch of farts? My mom? Are you pooping? I'm a big girl. I do Mordors. Do you think he survived? This is literally. Let's go faster! I died. What do I do about this giant ball chasing me?
Chaos, come watch us.
I'm trying to make sure we don't die.
Why are you looking so close?
I wasn't. I just looked down because I could see it.
Oh my god.
He's still rolling.
Cannibal swinging at you. The moose is running laps around you. Don't give me that baby. Do you know where your children are? Will you show them to me, please, so I can beat them up? I don't like scary babies in video games. I don't like scary babies in real life. Maybe let's not say those things on my stream. Okay, have fun. Bye. It'll save you hundreds of money on your car insurance by switching to doo-doo-poo-poo. I'm trying to make the poop. Go, bees!
Bees! Run to get the bees!
Oh my god! What is happening? I keep finding these boners. You can have your very own Greg.
It's soup. It's soup.
Where are the Vajuzhans? I just want to be beautiful like her. I am Cat. I can help you. He's totally dead. He's just standing there. Just because I was supposed to move him. I look like the kid from Stranger Things. You can go anywhere Twitch, and this is what you choose to do with your time.
Okay, game is done. Okay, thanks for coming.
Thank you so much for the raid, King Cook. I appreciate it. Dap, thank you so much for bringing your friends over and coming and hanging out with us. But yeah, so I am just about 2.5 hours in. I just got Garrus. I just found Garrus. And yeah, my shirt. So funny story, like, yes, it says Saucy in your Dap sauce. Saucy's actually, this is actually a work shirt. I did not change after work. And Saucy is the name of our brand, which is very funny because yeah, so it's, yeah, so represent. I didn't even see that it said that. Oh, I thought that's what you meant when you said nice shirt. You just meant because it's tie-dyed. Yeah, so Saucy is the name of our brand. If you consume CBD/THC products. Yeah, so. Do you think that guy is watching tonight? Oh my god, I hope not. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. Just the thought of it, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. I do not. Well, that's where I work. But yeah. The irony, right? Like Cinnabons? Yes. Like Cinnabons, exactly. So yeah, so I just found Garrus. I just found Tali. This is my first introduction to Tali, so. Do they sell the shirts? Yeah. Do you want a shirt? You want a shirt? I'll get you a Saucy shirt. I'll get you a Saucy shirt. I'll hook you up. I'll hook you up. You smoke the weed and then you crave the Cinnabons. I would love a shirt. Yeah. I'll hook you up. I'll hook you up with a shirt for sure. All right. Well, okay. Oh, reach the stars and let me turn the flotilla, the flotilla. This way we prove ourselves worthy of adulthood. Yeah. So something of value.
What kinds of things do you look for?
Cinnabon is a way of life. I want.
Like food
I
or fuel,
want like
or
a
some type
Cinnabon
of
near
useful
me.
technology, or even knowledge that will make
Major,
life easier
yeah.
on the flotilla. Through our pilgrimage,
I would
that
be
we
so
will
happy to
contribute
that.
to the community.
I
rather than
am
being a
planning on
burden
playing the
our
entire
limited
trilogy.
resources.
This is the legendary edition that was gifted to me. So if I enjoy them, I do plan on it. How dare you assume I didn't already crave the Cinnabons? That's also true.
What kind of evidence did you find?
I meant to
How'd you
stick
get it?
the other one.
During my travels, I began hearing reports of Geth. Since they drove my people
It's
into
weird
exile,
that she's like
the Geth
part
have never ventured beyond
cyborg-y,
the
like
veil.
she's got like
I was
cyborg
curious.
like feet, but she clearly has
I tracked
eyes
a
like
patrol of
underneath
Geth to
her
an uncharted world.
mask.
I waited for one to become separated from its unit. Then I disabled it and removed its memory core.
I
Don't
thought
tell
the Geth
people that.
fried their memory cores when they died. Some kind of defense mechanism.
Who's wearing weird armor? Yeah, but her little pieces.
How did you manage to
She
preserve
has
the
like
memory?
ash pieces.
My people created the Geth. If you're quick, careful, and lucky, small
Containment
caches
suit.
of data can
She's
sometimes
just
be
wearing a suit.
saved. Most of the core was wiped clean, but I salvaged something from its audio banks.
Look, she only has like little fingers. She has like 3 fingers. They're like this though. They're not like this.
That's Saren's voice.
They're not like
This
this.
proves he
either.
was
Well, I guess
involved
they're
in the
kind of
attack.
like this. She only has 3 little alien fingies. She's an alien in a suit. A 6-pack of warm Cinnabon. Oh my god. That's not fair.
He said Eden Prime brought him one step closer to
All
finding
you
the
need is
conduit.
3?
Any idea what that means?
The conduit must have something to do with the beacon. Maybe it's some kind of Prothean technology.
You've never had a Cinnabon?
Like a weapon.
Oh.
Wait, there's
Cinnabon?
more. Saren wasn't working alone.
Cinnabon cinnamon buns are like different. They're just so different. First of all, they're huge. They're huge. They're like this big around, and they're like thick. They're like huge, right? And like they just come in a box. Like it's like one
I don't
Cinnabon
recognize
per
that other
box.
voice, the one talking
And it's
about
just
Reaper.
like there's so much just the gooey. Yeah, the frosting. I was like, there's just so much gooey, and then I just trailed off because I just like want like. I just want a Cinnabon so bad. There was a Cinnabon in the mall, back home in Connecticut. There's not one near me. Oh, so good. At DAPCon? Oh my god. First of all, DAPCon is the greatest thing I've ever heard.
According to the Memory Core, the Reapers were a hyper-advanced machine race that existed 50,000 years ago. The Reapers hunted the Protheans to total extinction, and then they vanished. At least, that's what the Geth believe.
Sounds a little far-fetched.
Where's there a Cinnabon? Cinnabon near me. Okay, hold on. Let's see how far away this is. Let's see how far. This is 63 miles. Look at that. 63 miles away is the closest Cinnabon to me. Look at that. 59 minutes. 63 miles away. Closest Cinnabon. No!
The vision on Eden Prime. I understand it now. I saw the Protheans being wiped out by the Reapers.
Bullshit.
The Geth revere the Reapers as gods, the pinnacle of non-organic life.
How far out of your way to go to Buc-ee's? At Buc-ee's? Well,
the council is just
to and from Nashville, I did not go out of my way. In fact, I passed 2 Buc-ee's on my way to and from Nashville. But taking Yaga to Buc-ee's was out of the way, yeah. But it was like, it was part of the trip. You can get them in the freezer, but it's not the same.
The Reapers are a threat to every species in Citadel space. We have to tell them.
Like,
no matter what they think
just
about
like
the rest
walking
of this,
into a
those
building
audiophiles
that
prove
has a
Saren's
Cinnabon.
traitor.
The captain's right. We need to present this to the council right away.
You've been
What
to
about
Buc-ee's?
her, the Quarian?
I want to stop at Buc-ee's on the way to
My
TapCon.
name is Tali.
Buc-ee's is also
You saw
an
me in the
experience.
alley, Commander. You know what I can do. Let me come with you.
Yes, join us.
I'll take all the help I can get.
Thanks. You won't regret this.
Oh no, I will not regret
Henderson and
this.
I will go ahead to get things ready with the council.
5.2
Take a few
kilometers.
minutes
That's
to
still
collect
probably
yourself,
closer
then
than
meet us in the tower.
63 miles. Okay, so I want this bish, and I guess we'll take him because everyone's like, "Oh, Bay." This is the Bay Squad. Hello. Okay. Let's go. I need to get Rex too. The beautiful people. The beautiful people. Wow. Beautiful people. The beautiful people. Hi, driver. How are you?
Excuse me, Commander Shepard.
No.
Could you spare a moment of your
I don't have any time. I'm sorry. I'm kidding. I'm coming back. I'm kidding. I'm coming back.
Commander Shepard, my name is Samesh Patia. Forgive the intrusion, but I have nowhere else to turn.
It's no trouble.
I'm just like,
what can I do for you?
My wife was a Marine.
Marine.
She was in the 212 on Eden
You got a
Prime.
bug?
I've
What
requested
kind
that my
of
wife's
bug? Is
body
it a
be returned to
spitter?
me for cremation, but the military
Is
has
it a
refused my
spitter
request.
or is it a skeeter? Oh, why?
Why did they refuse your request? There's got to be some reason.
The one that makes you pee-pee
I
out of
don't
your
know.
booty?
All I know is that they have declared it
Oh.
impossible for my wife
That's
to be
the,
returned to me.
the diarrhea. We are adults. We are full-grown adults.
There's no reason for your wife's body to be held like this. Just wait here.
The man in charge of my
Diarrhea.
case is Mr. Bosker. When I last saw him, he was in the expensive bar over
Nothing
there.
worse than
Thank you for your
aspirin.
time. I just want to give my wife a proper funeral and the respect she deserves.
I can't stop laughing at myself right now. I just with my full fucking chest, just said diarrhea. Make sure they're flushable though. Make sure they're flushable. You don't wanna ruin your septic tank. I'm crying right now. Bring a sponge. Listen, sometimes you just gotta take a shower instead. They just kind of made that up. Really? That makes me sad. Like, I thought that I was, like, being the responsible adult and getting, like, the flushable ones that, like, decomp or whatever. Diarrhea. No. Yes, Tali. I like Tali so far. Hello, Enforcer. Welcome in. How are you? Executor Palin. Let's
Commander
see.
Shepard, I didn't expect to see you here.
Some of them do, but most
Did
don't.
Ambassador Udina send you?
No.
I came on my own. I need information.
You humans are always so curious, always sticking your
She does have the
fingers
hips of a
into someone else's
goddess.
pie. Is that
She's
the right
pretty
expression?
cool so far.
Never mind. Forget I asked. Was there something you needed, Commander?
Yeah, I do.
What do you know about the Spectres?
They're the right hand of the Council, or so they like to be called. More like the underhanded side of the Council.
They clog pipes and get caught on fatbergs in the sewer. Is that what I think it is? Is fatberg like exactly what it sounds like? Because that's disgusting.
What do you have against the Spectres?
I can't abide any organization that considers itself above the law. Especially when it's left up to each individual Spectre to decide when and how to
So
bend
is this, is that like actually coloring on their faces? Or is it like paint that like represents something? Like, do they actually have like different coloring on their faces? Okay.
Tell me about CSEC.
CSEC provides necessary police and security services throughout the Citadel. We're a civilian
For
government
Turians, it's
agency,
paint.
though many of our members have had military training. Of course, as the CSEC representative to the Council, I spend most of my time liaising.
Sorry, it's usually markings like Azari are the blue people, right? And Turians are these people, right?
I get the feeling you're not too fond of humans.
No, I just don't trust your kind. Not yet. You humans are eager to take
So
all
does
the
okay, so
power
does
you
it
can get.
like
and
does
you're
it
being
mean
given a
anything?
lot.
Like does different
The Council
paint
wants to make
colors
humanity their new
or different
favorite.
patterns
That-
like
that's
mean
their
different
business.
things?
But I don't have to like it.
The Council treats us like second-class citizens. We have to fight for everything
Azari
we
is
get.
who the who
Good.
did Reboot.
Then fight for it. But don't expect the rest of us to just sit back and let you take it.
Cloud
I'm a
Pizza's the
busy
one
man,
with cauliflower,
We're
right?
done here.
I'll be going now.
Goodbye, Commander.
Goodbye. But I doubt the lore has shared details. Well, I need to know now. I'm invested. This is the only thing I care about for the whole rest of the thing. Oh, shit. Whipped egg whites. Hi, Tatiana. How are you?
This place seems strange. Wish there were more humans around.
My goodness, you're Commander Shepard.
No, pizza
activities
and
made for quite a
Cinnabon.
briefing in the
I
diplomatic
want a
corps.
Cinnabon.
Is there something I can do to assist you?
Yaga, when are you coming down here again so we can go to Cinnabon? Samesh.
Yes. A man named Samesh Bhatia is having some trouble claiming his wife's body.
Ah, Mr. Bhatia. A good man in an understandably frustrating position. I wish I could help him. Serviceman Nirali Bhatia died on Eden Prime, as Mr. Bhatia no doubt told you. Her wounds are
What's for
inconsistent
dinner,
with any type of
Tatiana?
weapon damage we've seen
And my
before.
day was good. My day was
That
good.
is why her body is being held.
You think that her body might be dangerous or contaminated?
No, Commander. Nirali Bhatia is not dangerous. Her body is in fact extremely
When am I
valuable
coming
to
out?
the
When are you?
Alliance. The tests we're conducting may lead to better defenses against Geth attacks.
No.
Respectfully.
I would really like.
Serviceman
I honestly
Bhatia
would
may
really,
save
really
more
like to
lives in
travel.
death than she did
I
in
just
life.
don't have. I just don't have the money. Okay, so blue is choices. Well, I assume this bottom one would be red, but it's not like it's not highlighted. But I'm just like, I mean, I guess I'll go with the
I
Paragon
understand what
choice.
you're trying to do, but holding the body is wrong.
Commander, you of all people should understand how far we must go to protect humanity.
Not if we lose our humanity in the process. I am out here fighting to stop crap like
I
this.
need more bad guy points.
All right.
Oh,
Commander.
for it to unlock.
You win.
Okay.
It was hard enough refusing
Okay.
Mr. Bhatia. I'm not going to risk an incident by refusing you. Tell Samesh that the body is being shipped back to Earth. I'll go now to see to it myself.
I see. I see. Rice covered with vegetables and meat sauteed. Ooh. That sounds good. Hello.
Hello, Commander. Can I get you something?
Sure.
What have you got?
Information, mostly. Would you like to know about some points of interest nearby?
More of those dialogue options are available.
What's going on around here?
Well, you found the embassies, not much going on here. Across the bridge, you'll find the bank, the Emporium.
I'm always
Shaiera's.
afraid that these games.
If you haven't heard of her, you soon will. If you need supplies, you can try the markets one level
Right.
below. For entertainment, I try Flux
Like, I'm
or
afraid
Cora's
these
Den.
big, like, open world choice-based games and stuff, like, I feel like they're too overwhelming for stream. Because, like, I have to pay attention to the game, and, like, there's a lot of periods where I can't talk because I'm listening to dialogue or whatever. And, like, if I miss something, I feel bad. Or if I rush something, I feel bad. Dude, how do people stream like story-based games like consistently? Stressy. Okay. Oh, I do have skill points. Probably. It's not really open world. It just seems that way. It's actually quite linear. Well, that's good. Well, that's good. Okay. All right. Actually, I don't need to know any of that information. I do probably have, yeah, I do have points to spend. Okay. All right, Garrus. Garrus. All right. What's damping? Oh. Holly. Shields. Electronics. I know. I never really had an issue with like fruit flies and shit until like I moved down south, and now it's like if you like leave one single like cup out with like a centimeter of liquid in it, you're gonna have fruit flies the next day. It's disgusting. For your Martin's question,
Hold
I
on,
was just
Commander.
curious, like
Have
if
a
you
pleasant
happened
day.
to know.
I don't have time to talk now. I'm very busy.
Oh, you're very busy? You're very busy doing very busy things. Okay.
Don't believe the rumors. The consort would never reveal her secrets.
Of course you would.
Consort would not.
I suppose. Besides,
Blur, open the door, please. You can shit on her later? Like, actually duty? That's disgusting.
Hello again, Commander.
She's coming
Has there
home.
been any word?
I did it.
I reminded Mr. Bosker what we're fighting for. Your wife is coming home.
Figurative.
Thank you. I will
don't know if I
return
believe
home
you.
and begin my preparations. It does not bring me happiness, but it may bring me peace. Goodbye, Commander.
Goodbye, Commander. Oh my god, that's not the fucking run button. Hello? Oh my god, I walk between these tables. Oh, hello, Zeltan. Wait, wasn't my embassy nearby? Yeah, this was my embassy, right? Yeah. A fresh cup of tea? Kind of. Alright, let's just take one of these and go back to the thingy. Presidium. Presidium. Okay. Hello. Hello.
Come on. Udina's presenting the Quarian's evidence to the Council.
Eden Prime was a major victory. The beacon has brought us one step closer to finding the conduit.
And one step closer to the return of the Reapers.
You wanted proof? There it is.
This evidence is irrefutable, Ambassador. Saren will be stripped of his Spectre status
and all efforts will be made to bring him in to answer for his
what's the
crimes.
race of the other, the
I
third one?
recognize the other voice, the one speaking with Saren. Matriarch Benezia.
Benezia. Salarian. Salamanderian.
Who is she?
Matriarchs are powerful Asari who have entered the final stage of their lives.
Oh,
Revered
nice.
for their wisdom and experience, they serve as guides and mentors to my people. Matriarch Benezia is a powerful biotic, and she had many followers. She will make a formidable ally for Saren.
I'm more interested in the Reapers. What do you know about them?
Only
I'm a
what was
Gruder.
extracted from the Geth's memory core. The
I don't think I
Reapers
told
were
you
an
yet.
ancient race of machines that wiped
Tell
out
me.
the Protheans. Then they vanished.
An ancient race of machines that wiped out the Protheans and they vanished. About your dude. Diarrhea?
The Geth believe the Reapers are gods.
Yay! Hold on.
We think the conduit is the key to bringing
Let's
them
go.
back. Saren's searching for
I'm
it.
so happy for
That's
you.
why he attacked Eden Prime.
I'm so happy for
Do
you.
we even know what this conduit is?
Saren thinks it can bring back the Reapers. That's bad enough.
Listen to what you're saying. Saren wants to bring back the machines that wiped out all life in the galaxy? Impossible.
Meanie
It has
face?
to be. Where did the Reapers go?
I hope we
Why
don't
did
have
they vanish?
diarrhea at
How
your
come
new
we
job?
found no trace of their existence? If they were real, we'd have found something.
I'm good, Magruder. I'm good. I'm good.
I tried to
I'm
warn
trying
you
really
about
hard to
Saren
take
and you
this game
refused to face the
seriously, and
truth. Don't
chat
make the
is
same
just.
mistake again.
This is different. You proved Saren betrayed the Council. We all agree he's using the Geth to search for the
Talking
conduit,
about you,
but we
I'm
don't really
sicky.
know why.
Yeah, with
the Reapers
diarrhea.
are obviously just a myth, Commander. A convenient lie to cover Saren's true purpose. A legend he is using to bend the Geth to his will.
Alright, hold on, let me read. A legend he is using to bend the gift.
50,000 years ago, the Reapers wiped out all galactic
You know what, you
civilization.
need some fiber.
If Saren finds the conduit, it will happen again.
Saren is a rogue agent on the run for his life.
If you
He no
sent
longer
him
has the
back
rights or
some
resources of
Pinxel
a
brand
Spectre.
diapers.
The Council has stripped him of his position.
That is not good enough. You
A
know
lot
he's
better now that
hiding
you're not playing
somewhere
Resident
in the
Evil.
Traverse. Send
They
your
weren't
fleet
bad.
A fleet cannot track down
They
one
definitely had some.
A Citadel
They definitely
fleet
had some
could secure
moments,
the
but they
entire
weren't
region.
terrible.
Keep the Geth from attacking any more
They're
of our
more
colonies.
frustrating than anything.
Or it could trigger a war with the Terminus systems. We won't be dragged into a galactic confrontation over a few dozen human colonies.
Oh, so it denotes the colony they're from. I see. Over a few dozen human colonies. Wow.
Every time humanity asks for help, you ignore us.
Shepard's
Wow.
right. I'm sick of this council and its anti-human bull.
Ambassador, there is another
She's like,
solution.
wait.
A way to stop Saren that does not require fleets or armies.
I
No,
want the dress.
it's too soon. Humanity is not ready for the responsibilities that come with joining the Spectres.
You don't have to send a fleet into the Traverse, and the Ambassador gets his human Spectre. Everybody's happy.
Everybody's happy. Are you wearing dress in your shipping too? Or sweats? So, like, I have to finish this game to get any good stuff?
Commander Shepard, step forward.
Commander Poop Shepherd. Say my name. What's my name? What's my name? Poop. Puma. Puma.
It is the decision of the Council that you be granted all the powers and privileges of the Special Tactics and Reconnaissance
I don't know
Branch.
why I like those stupid movies so
Spectres
much.
are not trained, but chosen. Individuals forged in the fire of service and battle. Those whose actions elevate them above the rank and file.
Spectres are an ideal, a symbol, the embodiment of courage, determination, and
I won't
self-reliance.
even say that out loud.
They are the right hand of the Council, instruments of our will.
Spectres bear a great burden. They are protectors of galactic peace, both our first and last line of defense. The safety of the galaxy is theirs to uphold.
You are the first human Spectre, Commander. This is a great accomplishment for you and your entire species.
About time!
I'm honored, Counselor.
We're sending you into the Traverse after Saren. He's a fugitive from justice, so you are authorized to use any means necessary to apprehend or eliminate him.
He reminds me of Abe Sapien from Hellboy.
Any idea where to find him?
We will forward any relevant files to Ambassador Udina.
This meeting of the Council is adjourned.
Wow.
Congratulations, Commander.
We've got a lot of work to do, Shepard. You're going to need a ship, a crew, supplies.
You'll get access to special equipment and training now. You should go down to the CSEC Academy.
Sure.
And speak to the Spectre Requisitions Office.
The Spectre.
Anderson, come with me. I'll need your help to set all this up.
I thought the ambassador would be a little more grateful. He didn't even thank you.
It's okay, Tali.
Until I find Saren, I haven't done anything. Come on.
Right behind you, Shepard.
Wow. Wow. Oh, wait, let me talk to you. Hello.
300 years ago, the guests
300
drove my
years
people into
ago?
exile. We asked the council to wipe the synthetics out, but they ignored our pleas.
Maybe if
Hello,
they'd listened,
Tali.
we wouldn't be here now.
I want to move on. It's just standing there. I wonder if it knows. What? Oh, no, I wasn't. Never mind.
What? Why are you being a weirdo?
Yes, is there something you want?
Why are you
Why
being
are you
a
so
weirdo?
interested in the Keepers?
Keepers? I've got no interest in the keep.
Don't waste our time. I can see the lie on your face, Solarian.
I'm not so sure I should be talking to you about this.
We're just talking. Is there something wrong with that?
No. I guess it wouldn't hurt to tell you. I'm using a small scanner to gather readings on the Keepers. So far I've had mixed results. I find it difficult to get near the creature.
Why?
Why were you being so secretive about it, though?
Well, technically we're not supposed to disturb the Keepers. I don't really think my scanning disturbs them, but the authorities might disagree. I'd like to do it more openly, but it's not really worth getting arrested over.
I want to help.
I could help you out. I'm not worried about the authorities.
I don't even know who you are.
My name's Shepard. I'm with Special Tactics and Reconnaissance.
A Spectre? Well,
Wait,
nobody would dare
Special
stop you.
Tactics and Reconnaissance
All right,
is
then.
Spectre? That's fucking stupid.
You'll need this. It's the scanning device I developed. Activate it each time you see a Keeper. All collected data will automatically upload to my database. I'll even send a few credits your way for each unique scan.
I should get going then.
Yes, I have much work myself. So long, and good luck with the scanning.
Scan. I'm gonna make it my mission to go get all the spidders. Shepard, you've been a Spectre for 5 minutes and already you're throwing it. Exactly. Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. I'm a Spectre. Oh, hey. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm a Spectre. Don't worry. It's fine. Where's the other spidders? Spidder. I have no stamina. I run for about 4 seconds. And, just tired. No, I don't need to go that way. I don't need to go that way. I'll go another way. Hold on. Alright, so what am I doing? I'm finding spitters. And... Oh, I like her dress. It's a cute dress. Wait, no, let me see. Oh, it's like got like lace. Oh, I like that one. It's got like lace down the center. I like the green one too. Who are you?
I hope he's okay.
Who are you?
I'm on a break.
I'm on the break.
Talk to someone else if you need anything.
Wow.
I've got a lot on my mind.
Maybe I can help.
Well, maybe you can.
Good night, Dad.
You're a soldier, right? You ever head
Thank
out
you
to the
for
Traverse?
coming in.
The Traverse is a rough place.
Did you find Rex? I
We're out there
didn't
quite a bit.
murder. I don't
My
think.
brother's the captain of a ship called the
I only
Majesty.
murdered people that shot
it
at
was
me.
crossing the Traverse a few days ago when it disappeared. Just dropped right off the grid. And that usually means one of two things. They had massive mechanical failure, or they were attacked.
Any idea
Under
why someone would
240?
attack them?
Privateers, slavers,
Oh, go
mercs looking
Wolfie.
for an easy score.
I'm proud of
There's
you.
a lot of nasty sorts out in the
Sometimes I
Traverse.
still feel so fat.
I won't give up on my brother.
I
Not
mean-
yet. I've got the coordinates for the last transmission from his vessel.
It's gonna be hard to adjust the mindset, you know? Dep, I got you, for real. For real.
If your brother is still alive, I'll find him. Give me the coordinates.
I'll forward them to your ship
I
right
want one
away.
of those.
Please let me know as soon as you find him.
I want one of those. Oh, I went this way. She can get. I can get shirts. I can get some shirts.
No, I'm waiting to speak with one of the Councilor's assistants.
Hello?
Congratulations on becoming the first human Spectre, Commander. I'm
Thank you.
certain you'll be up to the challenge.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
My name is Admiral Kahoku.
Kahoku?
It's about time the Alliance got one of our own in with the Spectres. We need people like you to deal with our problems.
Problems?
Is something wrong, Admiral?
I'm getting stonewalled by bureaucratic assholes. Nothing new. Maybe you can help me, Shepard. One of my recon teams was investigating some strange activity out in the Traverse. We lost contact yesterday. Now I can't get clearance to check it out. Suddenly it's a restricted area. But that doesn't apply to you, Shepard. Spectres can go anywhere they want. You could find out why my team dropped out of contact.
I'll find them, Admiral.
I appreciate that, Commander. I was running out of options. I'm gonna stay here and see if I can find anything out through official channels. Won't hold my breath, though. I'll upload the info on where my team was last seen
Any
to your
update?
ship. Maybe you can get some answers.
No. And that was just like, that was just me, like, kind of making an assumption because, like, I don't see why an entire store would up and quit. So the store manager was the one who, like, actually quit. And she said that it was, like, she's got, like, a young baby. Like, she just had a baby, like, a year and a half ago or something, you know? And she was like, it's best for, like, you know, like, my family and all this other stuff. Which, that's besides the point. It's whatever. But she was, like, basically, like, you know, it's time for me to move on and, like, focus on my family and other stuff, blah, blah, blah. But also, like, with my resignation, like, these 3 employees, like, also wish to put their resignation in. So it feels like the store manager was like, it's time for me to move on, and I want to take care of my baby and do this other stuff. And the other employees were like, well, if you leave, like, I don't want to work for somebody else or whatever. I don't know. I really don't know. Like I said, like, yeah, I'm literally the CEO's assistant, but, like, I personally, like, me, Krista, I'm so personally disconnected from, like, the actual retail stores that, like, I just really, I really, really don't know. I really don't know. I need to find food. Wait 15 minutes, because I'm only gonna stream for 15 more minutes. And then you go find food. Well, unless I can't find where to go.
In other news, news, Exogeny Corp is still denying reports that one of their survey teams has gone missing in the Hades Gamma Cluster.
Go find
When
Dino
asked why
Man.
communication with the survey team was suddenly cut off last week, company officials refused to comment.
A spam knocker. Is that? Hitting the button again. Spidder. Okay. Oh, another spidder over there.
I've told you before, you're not allowed in here.
Ooh.
This one believes it has the right to move freely through this area.
Ooh. Are you yelling at, sir? Spidder. What is this? I love him.
Do you desire to learn of the Enkindlers?
I love him!
Or has the Honorable CSEC officer enlisted assistance?
Why is the CSEC officer harassing you?
The CSEC officer requests that this one purchase an evangelical permit to spread the truth of the Enkindlers.
Let me talk to the CSEC officer.
I
Perhaps I can
love
explain
him.
the situation.
I love him.
This one would be
I
most
love him
grateful
so
for the
much.
assistance.
I
Please
love
let this one know
him.
if success is achieved.
I love him. You better let
That
this noodle
Hanar
boy through
refuses to
right
listen to
fucking
reason.
now, or
Why
I will
can't
kill
it act
you.
in an orderly and lawful manner?
I think you should let the Hanar preach in the Presidium.
The Presidium is a place of culture and respect. It should not be filled with zealots shouting their idiocy. Why should the jellies get special treatment?
Because he's
Every other
an
species
amazing
understands and
noodle
obeys the
boy.
laws.
Beautiful, amazing noodle boy.
If I purchased the evangelical permit myself, would that take care of things?
As long as it stays in approved areas once it has the permit, yes. That would solve the issue for me.
I'll be back.
I don't care what you have to do. Just get rid of that Hanar.
I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna fucking kill you. You're lucky. You're lucky the game literally won't let me point at you. Alright, I have to help this jelly boy right now. This is an emergency. Do I get it from this Emporium guy right here? This is a jelly emergency. Just talk to him again.
That Hanar refuses to listen to reason. Why can't it act in an orderly and lawful manner?
You should be
Oh, the
more
jelly.
tolerant.
Okay.
It's just trying to express its beliefs.
I am not unreasonable. The Hanar is free to spew its nonsense once it purchases an evangelical permit.
I think you should let the Hanar...
Why should the jellies get special treatment?
Okay.
Every
Yeah,
other
blah, 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 blah.
As long as it stays in approved
Okay.
areas once it has
I'll be back.
I don't care what you have to do.
But I want the jelly to be able to live its
Has the
life.
CSEC officer been assuaged?
I'll keep working on it.
This one will continue to spread its message. Has the CSEC officer been assuaged?
Is this really how you want to represent the Enkindlers?
The truth of the Enkindlers must be made known. They gave the Hanar language, and gave the universe the mass relays. This one only wishes to spread the truth to any who will listen. There is no intent to cause trouble.
This is unworthy of you.
Is this how the Enkindlers would want you to use this gift of consciousness?
The Enkindlers would wish for their message to be spread to all sentient races.
I just want Jelly Boy to be happy.
The Enkindlers wouldn't wish their message to be spread by breaking society's laws.
This one hears wisdom. Perhaps enthusiasm has clouded judgment in this matter. This one departs now, and will not intrude upon the Presidium again.
I love you, Jelly Boy. No! I love him. That's sad. No. Look what you
I
did.
see the Hanar is left. Thank you.
Happy to help.
Here. Now, if you'll excuse me.
You poopy head. You poopy head. Alright, now I have to go to C section. Spidder. Did I scan this Spidder yet? Nope.
Please
Spidder.
do not disturb the keepers.
I am scanning the keepers. You shut that. Spitzer. That's the tower. Where's the little transit thing? Here. Okay, so in C-Sec. C-Sec. Did it. Okay, we're finding Rick. Hello? Oh, I found you.
You. Human. You the one they call
Spachi. Yes, I am Poop Shepherd.
That's me, Commander Shepard.
Commander
The name's
Poop
Rex.
Shepherd.
The Shadow Broker paid me a lot of money to get rid of Fist. Only you got there first.
You're welcome.
Sounds like I did your job for you.
When I get paid to do a job, I finish it. Alone.
Why are you being
I don't like
mean?
where this is going.
But I didn't finish this job, Shepard. You did. So the payment is yours.
What?
You're gonna pay me for getting rid of Fist?
I won't take credit for someone else's work. I transferred the payment into your account. I like the way you handled
So
Fist.
much money.
Now I hear you're going after Saren. I was thinking I should come along.
Why?
You're a bounty hunter. What do you get out of going after Saren?
I'm not in this for the money. I want to be where the action is. There's a storm coming, and you and Saren are right in the middle of it.
Why me? Saren's already got a lot of Krogan working for him.
Those aren't Krogan. They're servants. They grovel
He's
at
like a
Saren's
little-
feet to lick his boots, trading their freedom for
It's
promises
like a little
of
crabby
wealth
boy.
and power.
A little lobster crabby
My
boy.
people were a proud species once. Some of us still remember that. I won't bow down to Saren like the others.
Okie doke.
We'll take you with us, Rex.
Smart move, Shepard.
He's a frog dino. Crocodile frogman. Erd not Rex. Erd not Rex. I still want my Bay crew though, sorry guys. Still taking Bay crew. Wait, that's a vendor, right? Downstairs? Downstairs and around? Tuchenka? Hello.
One sec. Looking you up. Commander Shepard, here with
Hello?
the Alliance military. First time on the Citadel, that about right?
Yep.
How did you know all that?
I'm the CSEC
Sure.
acquisitions officer. I need to make sure our buyers are authorized. So, will you be purchasing anything today, Commander
Yes.
Shepard?
I have
Show me
money.
what you got.
I killed Fist.
Sounds good. Just let me set you up. Oh, this must be a mistake. System's telling me to offer you our select stock. Spectre?
Yep.
Well, I heard about that, but
You're-
I didn't realize it was you. Sorry,
Yep,
Commander.
that's me. Thank you. Special
Just show me what
special
you got.
tactics and
I'll open the
requisitions
rare
or
stocks
some
for you, Commander.
stupid bullshit.
Enjoy.
Alright. Oh my god, I have like no money. He gave me no money. Spectre Poop Shepherd. sell stuff? Why? Look, I can't. I have so much that I need all of this. I need it. Alright. Do I need to have shotguns, like, for everybody? Okay, so, like, I have, okay, so I have, like, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have, like, 5 shotguns. Do I need to keep them so that I have one, like, for everybody? Or do they keep the shit that's on them? Didn't even equip the shit that's better. Some characters specialize. That you didn't answer a single of the questions I asked. Do I need to keep 5 of them? Thank you. Okay, sell. Sell. Okay. It's not a straightforward answer and there is a delay. But the question was, like, do they keep, like, what they have on their person? Oh, there we go. Sort by level. I see. Okay. I see. So that one. That one. That one. Okay. So now... Where's... Oh, here. Ah. Wait, I have that on already? Okay, there we go. Right? Yeah, okay. It is right. Okay. Survivor 2. Okay. I'm on just normal, regular, normal, whatever the normal starting. Okay. Okay, now I can sell to this man.
Show me what you got.
Okay, sell. That can go. That one. The squad is usually fit, yeah. They can't wear any of the other stuff though. Well, they can't wear the armor because it's human armor. Human armor. Korean. Korean. Light armor human. Heavy armor Krogan. Sword name. There we go. Ooh, a Guardian 3. How do I... Oh, compare. There we go. It's not really better than what I've got, it looks like. Holy shit, 245. That's crazy. Alright. Don't bother giving them anything. Yeah, how do I save? Oh, like that. Save. Alright. I'm actually gonna go and I'm gonna stay in this merchant room. And we're gonna call it now. Only because I have to pee. If I didn't have to pee, I would have like actually gone into the next area, but alright, we're gonna find someone to raid so I can go pee. There we go. Made a little bit of progress. Made a little bit of progress. Not much, but a little bit. Ooh. Ooh, I might not even be able to raid. I gotta pee so bad. Alright, cool. Alright, everyone go. I'm gonna raid Dirge, and I'm literally gonna raid and run and pee because I've gotta pee. I gotta pee real bad. I gotta pee real bad. Pee raid! Pee raid! Alright, should be live on Friday, unless something goes wrong. See you guys later. I'm gonna go pee. See you guys Friday. Kiss, kiss. Bye. Bye. Wait, is my stuff gonna go? There it is. Awesome stream. Thank you.